I don't like it when you start. I don't like it when you start the stream saying, "Oh, hey, I wonder if anything."
We got Philip Harris, Redundant Lime, Wink Rogers, the Game Cat. We got Kev Gret. We got Rody. We got AJ, even though he's on the show. Stay Warm 420. David Reagan and Jackie. We got a fist bump for Geisen and Laser Man Azer. We got Jackie. We got Music Cat. Matt H. and Fist Bump Sunshine. Happy times. I'm just trying something different. Okay, do your thing.
And you're singing it.
Yeah, sorry.
Is the cat going? Is the cat walking towards us?
Oh, there is a catwalk happening right now.
What's up, your average username? Genetic Blasphemy. Robert Sullivan. Love you, dude. Philip Harris. Redundant Lime. Love that name. Redundant Lime.
It's all sorts of repetitious.
There's already a lime Game Cat. I don't need related to Captain Steve Rogers. Kev Gret. Hey, gang, the top 20 list is already Kev, I'm going to do a new one. Let's do it, Kev. Let's do it right now. Rody the Game Cat. So, fun fact, Rody's coming to town tomorrow, and I'm going to get to meet him. So, I know we have the Game Cat meetup in October, but I will be meeting the legend Rody the Game Cat in person. One of my oldest PSN friends.
Is he going to get you a Brad Paisley ticket? You're going to go see some Brad Paisley?
I don't know. Yeah, we're going to go see somebody, some country music, get down. It's going to be a party. Susie Cat, what is up? Matt H, Laserman Nazer, Jack E,
and Mikey Sensei,
Sunshine,
Harrison, Captain Fuzzy Bottom. We got Haplo, we got Gabe.
Nick Mulo, Diz. Hey guys, still. Woo, RC Winward. Love you guys too.
This is PSVR Gamescast Live, where we film live every Thursday evening at 6 p.m.
I was not ready for that.
What do you mean you weren't ready for this? We do the same exact thing every single week.
There's still 12 more names to say, Brian.
Beard of Power 666. What's up, dude?
Is that all you got? I don't want to interrupt your shout-outs.
And Ezra, the Game Cat.
Yeah.
Please proceed.
Thank you for joining us here at PSVR Gamescast Live. Make sure you hit up our Discord. The link is in the description. Make sure you check out our event that's coming up. As sort of mentioned by AJ in the introduction, we do have a Game Cat meetup happening October 19th at Six Flags, New England. Very, very exciting. I've been talking to Six Flags over the last couple of days on the phone, and we've been calling back and forth, and we've been making all sorts of arrangements, trying to figure out how much the discounted tickets are going to be, the way they're going to pick them up, the way that everyone's going to be able to get them, and we will have some solid information about that very, very soon. I don't know. What else we got? I'm Brian Paul from this channel right here. To the far, far left is AJ from not only this channel with his tips, his tricks, his guides, his top 5 list, soon to be lists, but also PSVR Underground on his own channel. AJ, are you ready for me to ask you the question of how are you doing this week?
Absolutely not. But I was feeling great until I played Afterlife. So we'll get into that more. But can definitely say if you're in too good of a mood, just go download that. It'll bring you down real quick.
I don't think I've ever been in that situation.
Anybody here like Dead Kids?
I've never been in that too good of a mood situation, man. Afterlife seemed perfect.
It happens to me sometimes.
Also in the middle, right here. There's my finger. This is Dave from Davestation VR. He does his own thing on his own channel occasionally, and he guest hosts here every single week.
Stop saying occasionally. I'm going to get back on it. Stop saying that.
I
did one a few days ago.
I'm trying not to set up anyone's expectations.
Okay.
Just do your own thing, man. And also he comes here every Thursday night, 6 p.m. Eastern, to interrupt me and AJ on a very frequent basis.
I can't wait. Let's get into it. I should have cut you off in the middle of that.
You should have. You
totally should have.
It would have been hilarious. What's up, everybody in the chat? Thank you guys for hanging out with us. I have no idea what's happening today. Obviously, there's a few games that's coming out this week, but more importantly than that, there's a top 20 list to debate right now.
No, God, no. Hours 6 through 9 of the top 20 debate.
There's some more changes that we need, and there's some games we forgot to discuss.
Yeah, we will have a top 20 list up soon, but if anyone's curious to know how that came to be, there's about 7 hours of us from last week's episode, and then a follow-up to last week's episodes, because it's Gamescast Live and then Gamescast Live Part 2. If you have 7 hours to kill, I would recommend doing anything but watching those videos. pretty much, because wow, how like, yep, my brain pretty much melted halfway through.
Oh, you loved it.
Yeah.
No, it was a lot of fun.
It was a ton of fun.
Really want to give one more shout out to the Game Cats, all you lovely people in there watching right now. You guys helped that be 7 hours instead of probably like 15 hours. So I really appreciate you guys. You helped us with a lot of the voting process. Work out some of the, should this go here, should this go there? So thank you guys so much. You guys are the best, but you already know that.
I think they already know that. Yeah,
they should.
They're nothing if not egotistical.
Way too much self-confidence in this group. We need to put a pin in that.
Right on. All right, so guys, obviously a few things we want to mention here. So I've got a question for you guys before we even start. We didn't discuss this off camera. I kind of saved it for right now.
Riddle me this, Brian.
Is this a gotcha? Are you going to give us a gotcha question?
I don't know what that means, so no.
Okay.
that can't be the right thing. I think right. So when Des told me last week, he was like, "Hey, my job is sending me out of town, so I won't be able to film PSVR or Why We Love PSVR next week." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So we actually filmed 2 the last time I saw him, just to kind of line him up. But what I didn't consider was that this means we won't have viewer takeover next week. So I was wondering, should we, the 3 of us get together and do a viewer takeover, and then film it and then just air it at the normal time, or should we do a live viewer takeover?
I say we record it or we plan it out before we do. We shouldn't do it right now because I know we talked about inserting it into the Gamescast now and then.
Yeah.
But I think we could do it live though. I think.
Yeah.
What do you guys want? What do you want, Cats? You guys want a live viewer takeover?
Live viewer
Live's
takeover.
Always fun. People get to chime in. We might get new questions during.
The only downside to live is that it won't go up at the same time it usually goes up at, because there's no way you guys are just both going to be free at 11 a.m. on Tuesday morning.
No, that doesn't sound.
Thank you, Philip Harris.
I might not even be awake at that time. So let's figure that out off the air. I just wanted to let everybody know that that's going to be different next week, just for next week. So submit all your viewer takeover questions over on our viewer takeover channel on Discord. There might be like this big long extended version of viewer takeover. We'll see what, because if the 3 of us are going to get together, we're not just going to.
We're going to be talking for 3 hours. We're going to be talking for fucking 3 hours.
We'll make it a good one, I promise.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Right on.
Everyone in the chat's saying live. We got a ton of votes for live.
Yeah, well, that's why you asked. What did you expect them to say?
You see, just indicating that I was correct.
They all said live, but then half of them are going to complain that we did it at like 2 a.m. UK time. I was like, I don't know what to tell you.
The game
it's still there later.
Right. Okay.
Still be there later.
Like what time is Nerfenstein awake? Let's make sure let's just work
in
on
Australia.
Let's work on her schedule. I think that's the important thing.
Let me check. What time is it in Australia?
I don't.
You guys keep talking. I'm going to figure it out.
I don't know if Australia's a real place or not.
I have a great idea. How about we figure this out later?
But it's more fun to do everything live.
No, it usually ends up being a train wreck. I think you would think we would have learned a lesson, but here we are, the next Gamescast, and Brian's like, "Let's think of it on the spot." That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. Listen, for as much as we screw up live, these guys love it, right?
It's part of the whole appeal, I think. We're human. We're human like all you guys. We're flawed. We make mistakes. And that's why
I don't know. Reth's not human.
We're so relatable, right?
I think AJ's right.
Reth's not human?
Reth is definitely not human.
I think AJ's right. They're just being nice to us.
He's part human. He's also part Gek.
Oh, God. I want to smell that motherfucker. Let me get those scent glands going.
Yeah, so Top 20 should be coming soon. No Man's Sky review will be coming soon. I got a list that's coming soon. And then, of course, just your regular scheduled programming.
Also, AJ just assumed that I'm getting everything done on time.
Yep, get to work.
Top 20 list is coming soon. Let me show you my Premiere file, which is blank right now. It's like, oh yeah, it's almost done. We're so close. Awesome. All right, so guys, let's get into the news. I know there's a ton of news to talk about. AJ, take us away. What is our first news story that we need to discuss?
Oh man, so much to go over today. So much awesome stuff going on right now. Gamescom 2019 is happening, and fortunately, we couldn't be there right now, but that's what we've got to upload for.
You say unfortunately. I say thank God we're not there right now.
Oh no, there's going to be a point where we're going to have to start going to these conventions and doing.
I really do want to go.
I'm sending you guys.
You went to PAX, right? You went to PAX before, right?
I've been to PAX. I didn't go this past year. I was sick. But I'm sending you guys, though, right? And you guys can be like, cause I don't like leaving my apartment. You guys can go.
I don't either, but it sounds fun.
I'll stay back here and edit stuff. It'll be great.
Well, exciting times indeed. They are demoing several. Well, there's actually a good bit. It's not like every big game coming up, but of course, Perp, Upload, all those great guys have put together a showcase for a lot of games that VR games. Everybody in Gamescom is doing their thing, and they're like, guys, we got to stick together and show that we're a community and have some presence. So really big shout out to everyone over there making it happen right now. And of course, like I said, Upload's been feeding us some information about a couple games they got to demo. A couple we can talk about. In particular, Iron Man, Undead Citadel, Espire 1, and The Curious Case of the Stolen Pets. We have just little tidbits of info going on.
Can I slide in real quick? I don't mean to interrupt too much.
Slide it right in, Dave.
Somebody asked, do you know when Espire releases? And I know you're about to talk about it. And this, let's get it out of the way right now. It is delayed, guys. Espire is not coming in August.
It's most likely
they're pushing
delayed.
it back.
If it wasn't delayed, we would know by now.
For sure.
Likely.
Well, they already said on Twitter that it's not coming out.
Okay.
Yeah, that's part of the news too. Yeah, it's not coming in August. So sorry, guys, but
Twitter.
I'm sure
it's fine.
I'm sure at some point it'll be polished and much better for having waited a couple weeks. So.
What's next? Blitter.
Yeah, they say it's coming soon. It's not like they're not giving it like a 2020 release date or anything. It seems like it's just gonna slip into fall.
Well, then let me just go ahead and mention the one thing. We didn't get many more details on Espire 1, but Jamie over there said something that really caught my attention.
Jamie Feltham?
Game, yes, and I know this game is heavily influenced by Metal Gear Solid and GoldenEye, is what they said. But he said something that was like, it made me like perk up real quick. I was like, huh? And he basically compared it to a similar layout and game design and said it felt kind of like Metal Gear Solid 2. And I don't know about you guys, but I loved Metal Gear Solid 2. It's one of my favorite in the series. So I just thought, that's really all he said.
I think it looks like Metal Gear Solid 2.
We already know it has like missions,
Are you on a big
tons
boat?
of missions, tons of challenges.
Oh.
No, but you will be traveling using the suit, using the Espire theater mode vision.
And almost the graphical like look of it, like the design aesthetic. it has like a very Metal Gear, like just like a lot of cool lighting and some like flat shading, polygons and stuff. And I thought Metal Gear 2 had a great look to it, and it just kind of looks like Metal Gear 2.
I love how JD enters the chat and he says land spaceship.
What's up, JD?
Like, also, everyone else who joined, welcome. But this is actually one of my most anticipated because of the influence. And I gotta say, I've never been the biggest stealth guy when it comes to games. However, I've always liked Metal Gear Solid. And one thing I noticed in VR, stealth is actually a lot more fun to me. I don't know if that's just because VR makes everything better, which is also true, but
I've heard that before.
In particular, I've there was a couple things that I didn't like before VR, but stealth is a lot of fun in VR because you actually feel like there's a presence in the room, like you just feel it more. And I love the idea in this game too, walking up behind them and saying like freeze, like verbally speaking and saying freeze, and they're like, oh, but we also know tons of missions, tons of challenges in this, so really, really looking forward to this, and really glad to hear that the first impressions that I've heard so far are Metal Gear Solid 2 in VR, because that sounds amazing.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for our VR missions, Metal Gear Solid VR missions, someday. Come on, Konami. Although Konami has fucked up Metal Gear, it's so bad. I feel like I don't even want another Metal Gear game from Konami at this point.
Listen. I didn't play Survive. But if Konami's like, you know what, guys, Zone of the Enders sold like 12 copies, and that's exactly how much it cost us to finance the VR version. So we're gonna throw you guys a bone and put Metal Gear Survive into VR. I'd be like, you know what, that's fucking fine by me. Like, I will take Survive in VR. I didn't even play it, but you know what, it looks fine by me.
Let's move on. Stop saying things that are gonna look bad.
I know where you're coming from, but I just no.
All right.
On the bright side,
It would
Even if you've
probably
got
be VR, though.
bad takes on Metal Gear Survive, you've got a great voice, apparently, the chat's, and you got a great voice. Gashmaster, is that your name? That's quite a fucking name, Gashmaster.
The Gashmaster.
The Gashmaster.
Yeah, Brian does have a nice voice.
So yeah, look for more VO in upcoming games.
So one game that is at
wait, what was that? You just dropped a bombshell.
Did you guys do that?
I listen. That's all I'm allowed to say. My
God!
My NDA.
You have an NDA?
Yeah.
You got a fucking NDA.
My NDA says I can say that, but that alone.
Man, leaving your dude hanging. Like,
what the hell? I want to know now.
I get too many dudes. I can't lift you all up.
No, but yeah. So confirmed, Brian is doing another voice in a game somewhere.
Look for that in 2021. Games take a long fucking time to develop, man. I had no idea.
No. It's Robinson the Journey 2.
I hope I'm the British circle.
You're the dinosaurs. You're all the Brian's all the dinosaurs.
I want to do.
This Gamescast just took a strange turn.
I would love to do the voice for the next Scraper games. I was not overly impressed with their voice acting, but I would love to do.
So what you're saying is that you've got to be better than them.
You think you've decided that you're a better voice actor just because they suck?
Maybe. Well, yeah. I'm not going to go into it.
Speaking of bad voice acting, we'll get to that a little bit later in the show.
There is another game that we actually did get a little bit more details on. The impressions for Iron Man. Iron Man is one of the main demos going on at Gamescom right now, and people are loving it. And Upload even posted a video or an article about it, some of their impressions, and one thing that really stood out was they were talking about how they've used an algorithm to help assist with full 360 movement in the game. So 360 tracking, for movement. So he said, he'd put his hands behind his back, he'd turn around. A lot of the turning in this game involves having your arms by your side and then twisting your wrist or twisting your hands, something like that, to turn. And for the most part, it's been positive, saying that. And like I said, they've used some kind of algorithm to, when the controller goes off screen, to continue that motion, something along those lines. So unfortunately, it's still just the same thing they've been demoing. I have a feeling not until maybe the launch trailer we're going to see a lot more footage of this, or maybe closer to launch. But really nice to hear great first impressions coming from the demo booth over there at Iron Man.
Yeah, it was interesting to hear that. I think I read somewhere, like you said, there's not really turn buttons. You just sort of have to go for it and turn your body around, or turn the controllers, which if they really did pull off that 360 tracking you're talking about, that's going to be really unique on PSVR. Like no other game really runs that way.
They mentioned a lot about it's that it's going to take some people adjusting to get used to the controls. To me, that's like every PSVR game, because
pretty much, yeah. I mean, it can't be Immortal Legacy bad.
Most of these controls, you watch it, bud. Watch it. You're right. They're nice.
That one's for you, Kev. That one's for you.
But Immortal Legacy rules, and you guys drool. But damn it, Dave! Now you really threw me off.
Sorry.
Anyways, lots of polished impressions. Lots of people saying the graphics look phenomenal, as expected. I mean, and yeah, we're looking forward to seeing more info on that. And another game that we shown off, and this one, guys, is gonna worry some, but it's probably best that we temper our expectations. Undead Citadel is also there, and to be honest with you, we're not really hearing the best feedback so far on it. And I looked it up and got more info on the game. They've said that there's over 40 weapons to choose from, and that it's going to have stunning graphics, that it's going to have this awesome combat, that it's going to be about, I think it was 8 levels, something like that. 10 plus levels featuring indoor and outdoor scenes. There's also going to be a Horde Mode where you basically just, the zombies, demon stuff come at you and you just attack them. They introduced the main character, Sir Anvil Capheus, who you're going to be playing as, and essentially you get to the Citadel, and the Citadel is overrun with these undead, and you have to wipe them out. The unfortunate part
I'm glad it lives up to its name. You're gonna reach the Citadel, and there'll be a bunch of undead.
I know. I was really trying to think of like some way. There's just no way around that. Like, but
I mean, at least it's not you're just like slaughtering living people in a Denny's or something.
Well, that's actually one of the things that they did on purpose. Was they actually wanted to make a big game focused on combat, and they didn't want to go like with the super hyper violence. So they said, well, if you make it against undead, then it's going to be.
It's like putting Nazis in a game or something. Just fucking chop them up, shoot them. No big deal. Let's move on. It's fucking dead guys. Who cares?
But the concerning part is that people that are getting their hands on first impressions of the game are saying that some of the combat feels kind of wonky, and that's a problem for a game that the main appeal is going around using all these different weapons, and there is a story mode apparently, but I'm going to take that with a grain of salt because we've been promised several things before. It may just be marketing speak. We don't really know much about the story, so lots of VR devs like to say, oh, it's featuring this amazing story and stuff. So, but we haven't seen anything on it. As far as I know, we've seen more on Witching Tower VR than we've seen of Undead Citadel. So, really hoping for the best. But just approach with caution, guys.
It's hard when your game is based around melee combat in VR. I haven't seen like really a great implementation of that everybody can agree on is well done and feels good. Skyrim, you feel like you're just waggling your hands around at a certain point, unless you're using magic. But like any kind of game that requires swords and you swing the sword, without that kind of feedback of like hitting somebody else's sword and like how do you implement that properly? I haven't really seen anybody do it. So
they did say they have tried to make, I don't remember if it was actually Undead Citadel, but there was some game saying that is a problem trying to convey like weight in a game.
Yeah,
like you
exactly.
have a sword, and so they're using like different ways to balance that. So that is something they've thought about. So
I feel like you might almost have to do something like, how Creed at a certain point would force you into a certain style of movement to complete what it wanted you to do in that moment. So like you got to put your hands here at this speed to get back in. Like if they had a guideline where it's like, this is how you swing the axe. And if you swing it like this, it's not going to work. But if you swing it like this, it'll actually properly work.
But then it starts to feel real scripted, right? And it's like,
of course. Yeah.
My biggest issue with everything that we're hearing is the fact that they're saying it's 10 levels, right? So like when we weren't sure what kind of game Dark Curry was making, we were like, oh, is it this kind of seamless like mini small open world adventure? What's it going to be like? What's the moment to moment gameplay? Is it just going to be combat? Is it like how is the story going to be delivered? We saw like one scene I think of being inside and picking up a few things off a table. Right. And to me now, this all seems. It's as soon as you start saying 10 levels, I start getting Wizards vibes, and I don't like the sound of that. Nope. I'm starting to get wave shooter vibes. I don't like the sound of that. Like it's basically it's minimizing the potential of this game for me. Where I was like, oh, this seems like it could be even a small adventure, but something original. And now, and just from hearing the words 10 levels, I know that could mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But to me, it means there's not a whole lot of substance here.
Yeah, I feel like if they nail the actual melee combat, then I won't mind. Because no game has done that yet. So even if it's like in the format of games we've seen, like a wave shooter with no real overarching story and just sort of separate chapters, whatever.
Right.
If they get the feeling of melee combat down, I don't really care because no one else has done that. But I'm not entirely convinced that they will. So I guess we'll see.
I'm a little concerned about the wave shooter thing, and with all due respect to them, it's been too many times that people promise this non-wave shooter kind of game, and then it ends up being a wave shooter game in disguise. So I have to play it to know for myself. But I'm still looking forward to the game a lot. But to be honest with you, like I said, when they don't show everything, my interest is automatically switching towards Witching Tower VR, which they've shown a nice polished trailer and voice acting, all this stuff that, it's promising to be in there.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
You mentioned, too, one thing about Wizards, just one real thing to touch base on there. some people did get some impressions at that place as well, and they did mention that they're going more of a story route. Like it sounds like they listened to everybody and they learned, and that they really want to add a story-driven campaign for the Wizard Dark Times versus the wave shooter thing.
Yeah, Dark Times, even the small teaser that they did of Dark Times was infinitely more impressive to me than the game itself.
There was no gameplay in it though, so I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves.
No, but it's just the vibe it gave me. I was totally down. I was like, yeah, okay. It sounds like you guys, it's tough when you're, you've got this framework for the Wizards, and they kept building and building and building on it. And then they brought us the enhanced edition for PSVR, and it's like, It seemed like they took a couple different directions throughout the course of development, and we got what we got, But it seemed like they kept trying to make it bigger than it was, And it's almost like if they just said, "Hey, here's your $15 wave shooter, with magic powers," I'd be like, "All right, I get what you're doing here." But it seemed like they changed direction sort of mid development and tried to make it bigger than it was, and I think that they're taking that and using that to sort of start fresh with Dark Times. It's just my guess. I'm really hoping that that's what they're doing.
Yeah. No, I mean, it seems like it would be a good idea, and it makes sense if they do.
The Wizards had a lot of potential. I mean, it fell flat on some major things, but it did have a lot of potentials, and I loved the combat system. I know it's kind of divided, but I loved doing like this and like spawning arcane magic and stuff, and then going pew 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 pew. I actually really like the combat system in that. I just think the story just wasn't fleshed out, and that was really my biggest complaint was that you act like you're in a story, you feel like you're in a story, but there's no story occurring.
And I think
it was kind of strange.
The actual combat system itself on your end is fun, is cool, summoning stuff, casting it, but when you hit an enemy and when you battle them, there's kind of this lack of feedback, or it doesn't feel like you're really in a fun fight. They're just kind of ambling straight towards you, and they don't react when you hit them, and then eventually they fall over and they're dead. And a boss is the same way. Just this giant standing around, you just throw a shitload of fireballs, eventually he's like, and he's dead. So that sort of back and forth between the player and the thing you're doing combat with is totally absent from Wizards, as far as I'm concerned. But if they get that working, that's a really big part of the immersion. Because if I feel like I'm hitting cardboard cutouts, it's not that exciting. So.
Yeah, I definitely, there was the gesture-based spellcasting. I thought when it worked, there were certainly times when I needed it to work and it didn't. But when it worked, I was like, this is fantastic. This is wonderful. But then I ended up reverting to like the flip of the hand and throwing the fireball because it was just the easiest to do, and it almost always registered. But no, it's I hope that they are listening, and I hope that they are, fixing the issues of the original. So, all right, but moving on. What else we got from Gamescom?
2 more games. We got some people have been playing The Curious Tale of the Stolen Pets, which we know is like a puzzle kind of adventure kind of deal, but it's going to be what it's sounding like. First of all, the first impressions are really positive, and this is by Fast Travel Studios, who made Apex Construct.
Top 20.
No, it's not. We didn't even mention it in the top 20 list.
Apex is okay. What Apex got right is actually pretty amazing. But it's missing a lot of core game things that make it fun.
I'd say it's a top 20 on Quest.
I will
20 on Quest,
I will
but
say
not top 20 on PSVR.
I will say it's top 40 on PSVR. Along with along with Sprint Vector, along with 30 other games.
Don't get into this.
Ghost Giant. A lot of great games didn't make the list. And but I think Apex Construct is like severely underrated. When people go, I don't know, I'm like, what? Really? I don't know. I love that game. I love Apex.
I'm not a big fan of hunt and peck typing. There's a lot of just boop, boop, sitting at a keyboard.
Did you play the update when they minimized that?
I did, but it wasn't that much better for me, honestly.
Entire words were like spelled out on the keyboard, so you just like click that and then.
Oh, maybe I didn't see that. Okay, never mind. I got to go back.
Yeah, they made it much easier. I know a lot of people actually prefer the original way because they thought it was more authentic. But the typing could have been.
authentically a pain in the ass.
Honestly, my biggest complaint about that game, which was kind of a big deal for me, was there's like 1 or 2 enemies in the entire game, like enemy types. They throw that spider at you, that spider thing, robot thing at you like several times, and then there's like the teddy bear robot, and like you beat him once, and then it's like you have to fight the end boss, and it's that teddy bear boss again. So it was like, huh?
And this is just a heads up, everybody. This isn't like Curious Tale of Stolen Pets is not Fast Travel Games' next big project. This is sort of like, a small part of their team passion project, and it looks like that. It looks like something small and cute, and it looks like he's going to tell a nice little story. But it's not going to be their next big like AAA adventure.
No, but that being said, a lot of early impressions are pretty good. So maybe kind of like another Ghost Giant. I'm thinking something along those lines. And
is it like a puzzle box kind of thing? Like I was picturing like Nog. You guys remember Nog?
Yeah.
Nobody ever talks about Nog anymore, but like that sort of rotate, figure out what opens, do this. That's kind of what I'm expecting for it, but I don't really know that much about it.
It looks kind of like Captain Toad Treasure Tracker.
Oh, I love that game. That has VR support now on Switch.
I refuse to ever use the Switch VR again.
It's not great, but I do want to. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker was the one game I was like, that would work in VR.
It seems like it would make sense.
Alexander's 21 says, "How is Killing Floor? Killing Floor is pretty good, man, especially if it's on sale."
If only we had a review on the channel somewhere.
Yes, you can go watch the review on the channel. But I'll tell you straight up right now, it's actually pretty good. I think it's kind of actually a little. I almost want to say underrated, but I don't think it is. But it's almost underrated.
On the top 40, it falls just under Apex Construct.
Right.
Don't start talking about this top 40, or people are going to want us to do a top 40.
That's what December's
we say
for.
it too many times. We're speaking it into existence.
That's what November's for. 3 months from now, top 40. Everybody, we're calling it now. We're calling it now.
I gotta take the whole month off of work just so we can sit in front of a camera and talk about it.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be an all-week live stream for sure. It's like we're just gonna be ordering pizza and having them delivered during the stream. Leave the door open for the pizza guys, nonstop.
Oh, nice! You told RC Winward to get End Space for $4.99. That's interesting, and he says he's loving it.
To get what?
Nice.
End Space.
End Space.
End Space. Talk about underrated games. I really think that game's underrated for everyone who didn't like, or for everyone who liked the. I know, it's a cheap mobile thing,
it's fine, but
for what it is, for like $5, I mean, it's pretty awesome for $5. And
buy it for $5 and wait.
Yeah, Hodis is awesome.
Buy it for $5 and wait until that team finishes making the game, because the update's coming soon. Did you guys know that? There's an End Space update coming. So buy it for $5 and then let's leave it in your library, and in like 2 months play it. Because
if you like the
was that not supposed to talk
Star
about
Wars, if you like the Star Wars Battlefront
another NDA
experience,
violated,
dude, I can't keep track of shit anymore.
This is like a 5-hour version of that, kind of, just not as good. But still, I think that game gets really shit on a lot, and I don't like it.
Hey, Brian, are you still working on the Mage's Tale review? Somebody's asking in the.
Yep. Don't worry, it's still coming.
We've got one more game that's being talked about at Gamescom, and that is Servio's The Walking Dead in partnership with AMC Copyright Trade LLC.
Speaking of which, let me see if I can find a trailer that won't get this whole video shut down.
Right.
Here we go. This one will do it.
Is AMC claiming everything?
Dude, they're like trying to shut down the channel every time I show their trailer.
Jesus Christ.
AMC is not a happy camper. Or we're not happy campers with AMC. But before we get into this, I think we need to give a shout out to Killicell, Quadruple 7.
Oh man.
What?
Dave, you really
I didn't know it was going to be that loud. I'm sorry.
Killicell Quadruple 7 coming through with a $20 donation with nothing to say, no words to attach. Killicell, we definitely will read your next comment out loud, whatever it might be. Thank you very much, man. We really, really appreciate the help.
Sorry for everyone's ears. I didn't know it was going to be that loud.
Yeah, End Space is good. End Space
just decent. Like, don't have high expectations or anything.
I just want to. No, it feels very like, oh, we took levels from the original Wing Commander, and then we sort of cut out all the cinematics and all the story in between and all of the title screen Like they literally took anything out except for the missions themselves, and then it just didn't. The upgrade system was sort of wonky. I feel like that game has a ton of potential, but for $5, yeah.
I had no idea what it was, and I bought it for $5, and I was like, oh my god, like it was something. The fact that at the time there was nothing really else like it. There was Valkyrie, but this was a single player thing, right. So it gave me that single player arcade Wing Commander mission based fix. And if you guys like Wing Commander and stuff like that, definitely stick around. We got some great news to share.
Now, hold on. Endspace, I'm pretty sure that when Endspace launched, let me check real quick, because I'm sure it was $15 at launch. And so it's way easier to recommend. It's actually $20. So it's currently on sale. No plus required. 75% off. $5. I can't believe they charged $20 for that at any point.
Yeah, I don't want to hype the game up.
Yeah, and like just to put it in perspective, like JD is saying, Eve is way better as a game, a polished product. But if you're not into the multiplayer thing and you don't want to play against bots and get your ass kicked, it's like a single player space shooter experience. It's serviceable. It's
getting your ass kicked is not a feature, Dave.
No, it's one of the things that I experienced every time I played Eve Valkyrie, with humans or with robots.
It's got a learning curve.
And that's everything we had to say about The Walking Dead by AMC in Servius.
Right.
We got some Wing Commander.
This trailer's been playing for 5 minutes. We haven't said a word about it. What's
the Wing Commander trailer? Put the Wing Commander trailer in there.
A Chris Roberts game.
For the movie with Matthew Lillard.
I don't think we're doing that.
Please, God, no. So the only thing that we got regarding The Walking Dead is there's basically going to be, they've said, about 8 levels. And they've compared a lot of what they're doing with this game with a lot of what Servios has done in the past with raw data, sprint vector, stuff like that. They usually have around 10 levels, and then we'll have other modes, other characters, different things to unlock. So they're adding replayability that way. Also, it's going to be co-op, and it's going to be story-driven. So the fact that it has co-op is kind of cool. Could be like another little Arizona Sunshine, but by Servios. Don't say that. No. But by Servios. Yeah. And I just, Servios just really hasn't let us down yet. Even if, nothing, I'm so shocked that none of their games made our top 10. It makes absolutely no sense. But it's very weird because they just don't, they haven't made a game that I've disliked so far. They have a great reputation for VR games, and they really know what they're doing. That being said, I would like to see, I'm hoping either Battle Wake or something really breaks through and becomes one of those top 20 games.
What scares me a little bit is that Servios, in the past 3 years that PlayStation VR has been around, we have seen maybe, for the most part, one game from each developer for PSVR. There's been a few exceptions, but Servios is coming up on their 4th and 5th game with Battle Wake and with this, and it scares me a little bit to the point of Platinum Games, because Platinum Games was putting out nonstop hit after hit after hit after hit, and then they started getting these these deals with Transformers, and what was their other licensed one?
Wait, that Transformers game is actually not bad, dude. I got that for free.
Devastation?
I played it.
It's
fun.
Free. It's amazing.
It's a good hack and slash.
I'm a day one Devastation guy.
Dude, this shit was fun. But Platinum Games makes good shit.
Platinum Games makes good shit, but the level of quality has definitely been all over the place for the last couple years.
They did make Nier Automata, which is one of the best games that's come out in the last.
All over the place. Automata was a high point for me. One of the best games I thought they've ever made.
Yeah, me too.
But
this one on Switch looks pretty good too. Astral Chain, that's about to come out the end of this month, I think.
Yeah, we'll see. Let me do a quick search for what else. Because when they started getting licensed,
I like that comparison, JB. Although I give it a little bit more credit than that, but I like the comparison still.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look. I can't remember the comparisons I was trying to make, but we'll see. I just hope they're not biting off more than they can chew. I hope that they're still able to. What in the hell? Kill a Cell Quadruple 7 hits us up with another $10 donation, or another donation, this one of $10. Says, it's cool. You guys are the shit. Always have your back, Brian. I don't know what I did to deserve that, but thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kill Cell. You are the man. Speaking of Servios, so that's basically the info we got. They've said they're going to use a similar locomotion system to Sprint Vector, and Creed, but it sounds like there's going to be some other options in there as well. 4 players, 4 different characters to choose from. It was like Rick, Michonne,
Carol. Yeah, Michonne, Carol, and Daryl, I think.
And Carol and Daryl.
Carol and Daryl. Dude, Carol and Daryl are the best. I want to be Carol. Yeah. I'm going to fuck everybody up as Carol.
To that. So that pretty much wraps it up for Gamescom right now. Tons of good stuff. Thank you again to Upload for keeping us up to date. And also, speaking of Survios, Battlewake, one of my most anticipated games, has gotten a release date of September 10th. So really looking forward to that. You know, the impressions on PC have been pretty good from the people that tried the beta. You know, this game kind of fell off my excitement radar when they said sign up for the beta, and then it never actually happened for PSVR.
Sound like it may be a miscommunication on their end.
Yeah,
because it was only PC beta. Like we don't tend to get a lot of PSVR betas.
We don't, but we do get them. So it's kind of strange that that we didn't.
Yeah, just by comparison, we don't get a lot. That's
Yeah.
So besides Honor and Duty, D-Day, and Space Junkies, what have we gotten a public beta for? Has there been anything else? Those are the only 2 I can think of.
Oh man, I can't ask me on the spot.
It's like what I'm saying is it's super rare. There's hundreds of games. That's like less than 1% of all games. Like,
yeah,
not many get a beta.
But really excited for Battlewake because we have right now. Table of Tales is like, for me, the go-to pirate game on VR. And as somebody who is a massive fan...
You said Table of Tales is your go-to pirate game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
There's no other pirate game.
Bout of Blood sort of is almost like a pirate game. A little bit.
Yeah, I couldn't get into it. I know a lot of people like that game, and I know I hear
definitely
it's
a top 40.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Very underrated game. I could not get into it.
I've never thought of Table of Tales as a pirate game. But I guess you do ride around in a ship.
Well, it's pirate themed, and yeah, I mean, it's a pirate adventure and stuff. But I'm a huge fan of Monkey Island. I know Brian is too. I know a lot of Game Cats are as well. And I want that pirate game. I really, really want that good definitive pirate game. And Battlewake, just like Survios fashion, is going to actually use a lot of the fluid locomotion system mechanics and. With Sprint Vector and stuff, is still to this day my favorite control scheme. Maybe against Sirento. It's usually when somebody asks what's the best control scheme for PSVR, it's pretty much between Sirento and Sprint Vector. And their fluid locomotion system is usually pretty awesome. So
yeah,
that game in general.
Shout out to Your Long Shadows with an NOK 40 donation. I always forget what
really
NOK
need
is.
A new sound effect for that.
Thank you, Your Long Shadows.
Effect. What do you want? You want an eagle?
I want something from. I want a soundbite from a PSVR game.
So that's real specific. How am I supposed to find a sound effect?
The sound of a spider jumping in Farpoint or something.
Dude, I cannot find that on YouTube. I type in air horn, it takes half a second. I'm not going to find a sound clip. All right.
Do some work,
real quick.
Dave.
Your Long Shadows, although not putting a comment with the tip, did say back to appreciating Table of Tales. Bless. So heads up on that, guys. Table of Tales, next top 20. Just saying.
I totally missed. I totally missed what I was saying.
Yeah.
I think back to appreciating Tales of Bless. Yeah. Sorry. I know Your Long Shadows actually had a funny comment in the comment section of that video saying, "Oh my God, did he really just mention Table of Tales? I can't wait to see where this goes." And I'm like,
yeah,
abort.
Yeah, better pull out the alcohol fast.
Yeah, I mean, it is a fantastic game. I can definitely see some more games switching around. I already know. I already got some ideas for the next top 20. So time to get excited, guys.
Hey, real quick. So I was going through my emails of the day, and I found that this morning, at 4:07 in the morning.
I'm impressed you check your emails.
I mean, often. It's very seldom. I have 7 email addresses. I check the without parole proper one. And it was I got an email from NetEase Games. Of course, they're the ones making Nostos. Yeah. So here, you know what? Let's
the game that makes you go.
Please bring this up. Yes.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Now,
I've been clamoring for a JRPG or an MMO kind of deal, and I know we have Zenith, but Zenith just started production, so it's a long ways out. And before Zenith was Nostos. So please tell us about Nostos.
There's I mean, there's not a whole lot to say.
There's like, they were just saying, hi, how's your day?
No. There's not a lot to say, but here, we'll throw the trailer up here so people can see what we're talking about. In case you forgot, I know a lot of people don't keep up with this stuff as well as we do. That's what we're here for. We don't ask you guys to stay up to date. So anytime we bring something up that's not real commonplace, we do try to keep you posted. But the email said that the beta test is coming. Now, we just talked about beta tests and how PlayStation VR doesn't get nearly as many beta tests as PC. But this one is saying it's coming from September 5th to September 8th, all day, every day from those 4 days total. And
on what platforms?
Did they say PlayStation VR?
So the email does not say which platform, but
It's not coming to...
Well, why would you say that? Because we've been in contact with them before, and we've said what is happening with Nostos, and they've said very clearly multiple times that it's coming out on PSVR and PC VR day and date, and they.
Oh Jesus! Dave.
And they're saying that they're.
Sorry, we got another donation from Kilocell, $10. Kilocell's blowing it up today.
Kilocell's blowing out my eardrums.
It's all his fault. If he would stop donating, I'll stop playing these fucking sounds, man. I'm sorry.
No, don't listen. Don't tell people to stop donating, okay?
Just stop. Cut down on the donations.
This is the only way I'm surviving these days.
My ears.
So I appreciate every single donation. Don't tell anybody to tell you to stop donating. Although Kilocell, you've done your part for the year. Thank you so much. No comment either. Every single time with just the money.
You rock, man. So please, Brian, continue.
NetEase has, unless I'm misremembering, they've been saying that everything's happening day and date with PC and PSVR, and so I'm pretty sure they said there's a beta test coming for PSVR, and it doesn't. And when you click the link in the email, it asks you which platform do you play on.
Ooh. Oh, okay, cool.
At no point does it say, "Oh, sorry, you're a PSVR gamer. You don't. There's no beta."
To be fair, that's the similar thing that Servios did with Battlewake. So you want to read that fine print.
Yeah, but Servios are a bunch of noobs. They don't know what they're doing.
They're a bunch of noobs.
Also, we love you, Servios. You're the fucking bomb.
They're great.
We really
Even though none of your games got on the top 20, I'm sorry.
We'll make a top 5 Servios games list. How about that?
Servios was the bomb in Phantoms, yeah.
They'll get they're special enough. They deserve their own. But yeah, I mean, this is a game that I am very, very excited for. I know anybody that is interested in JRPGs, this has kind of like a similar look to it. Like if you like the art style of JRPGs, this has that. What was that game?
Ni no Kuni look.
Thank you so much.
Ni no Kuni, yeah.
It has that kind of like beautiful Ni no Kuni aesthetic, but then it also has some crazy like first-person driving mechanics and like open world and like MMO style stuff. So really looking forward to hearing more on this. And they've had pictures of this game while they're developing it, like next to a PSVR headset specifically. So they've confirmed several times that this is coming to PSVR. And it can't come soon enough.
And again, day and date.
Awesome.
So that's the important thing. So often we get PC games, and then we have to wait a year to get the PSVR version. And this one, they said it over and over. The only thing is the last time we got reactions from people playing it live, the draw distance apparently is total garbage, which I can totally understand, right? Because you're rendering all of this stuff that looks so amazing up close that the draw distance is pretty weak. Who knows?
I think if it's a well-designed world and there's cool stuff to do in it and you can stick around for a while, like I'm thinking directly when you said that of No Man's Sky, because there's this blur on everything and the draw distance isn't great. But once you start playing it in 15 minutes, you don't even notice those things anymore because you're so immersed in the actual gameplay and how beautiful things look beyond that filter of haze and low draw distance.
Especially if you're doing this like Fantasy Star Online style, like where you're just like
dude, don't say fantasy. Oh man.
Well, that's been the other comparison they keep making is that, or not that people playing it keep making, was that it's not an MMO, but it is definitely you go out and hunt with like other people, like your friends. It sounds
Be still, my young heart. Fucking
right.
And then Zenith is supposed to be.
And if you remember Fantasy Star Online, you don't have a young heart. That's
no, my young heart. I'm thinking back to when I did have a young heart.
Right before all the.
So we do have one kind of some kind of Fantasy Star Online. Zenith is supposed to be more like Sword Art Online with some kind of Beat Saber inspired combat. So
Can I just have Sword Art Online? What's the issue?
I just want JRPGs, man. I just want a JRPG in VR. I would love that.
Yeah, where's my Ni no Kuni? Like my actual Ni no Kuni. I love that game. I never played the sequel because it came out after VR. I was like, where's my VR version? I need that. Yeah. What do you got next, buddy?
Moving on, we have
to the east side.
A new game that has been announced by Dual Mirror Games. And okay, so it's not technically new. It was announced years ago, but they've given us some updates on the game, saying that they're going to be sharing more details soon. Now, the trailer we're going to be playing is a little dated, so the trailer that we're going to be showing is like a couple years old, so it's going to look kind of bland and stuff. The screenshot that they posted on Reddit, it looks a lot more polished, a lot better. What's wrong?
I'm waiting for Dave to make the noise. I'm like trying.
Dave,
I'm ready.
Please.
I'm at the ready.
Please. Shit, I gotta go, guys. They found me.
Let me read this tip that we got. Your Long Shadows with the 60 NOK says, I appreciate the eagle, Dave. It'll always make me think of Scrubs. LOL. Also appreciate your shirt. You rock those flowers.
God love. It's God love.
What's the eagle?
Thanks, Your Long Shadows.
What's the eagle?
The eagle is the sound I just played.
The eagle,
in between the police siren and the air horn, I was playing an eagle sound.
Gotcha. I've seen a lot of Scrubs. It's still not ringing a bell.
You mean what's the reference, not what's the sound? I got you. Yeah.
I don't know.
Obviously, No Man's Sky has filled a lot of voids for a lot of games. Has so many crossovers of different style of games and stuff all in one package. However, for those that don't want to do the grinding, don't want the extra stuff, or just don't have the time, Kev Gret, this game could be interesting for you. And to me, what they're saying influence-wise, couple really nice notes that they left us, and it's got classic flight and arcade flight controls. It will support the HOTAS. It will also support the PC mouse and keyboard. It's mission-based, and they drew inspiration from Elite Dangerous, and I think that's.
I thought you said this was going to be like a more casual game. Elite Dangerous is like
this is mission-based, man. The combat, the flying style and stuff, the control style is supposed to be like Elite, and Battlefield or Battlefront too. But they basically said that they're going to be sharing more info on it, and to me, they said it's going to be kind of like another Wing Commander. When I mentioned Wing Commander earlier, this is the one I was talking about. I also hear some people mentioning Colony Wars, and I love you so much.
I think you're the one saying Colony Wars. I was saying,
start it, people. Let's do this.
Right?
Let's do this.
Where's my G Police? Weapons of Justice.
I know you're out. Let me get some Colony Wars. Some love for Colony Wars in the chat. Yeah. I know you're out there, so I can give you a big hug.
Listen, if you want to talk ridiculous, and there's nothing wrong with Colony Wars. Colony Wars was awesome on PS1. You guys want to see something absolutely ridiculous? I'm pretty sure that Readout First Contact was my very first breaking news report ever, and I want to show you guys how ridiculous this is. Here, check this out. I'm putting it up right now.
Oh man, I gotta watch this.
This is look at me. Oh my God, what's wrong with me? This is the most ridiculous thing on the face of the planet. Why did anybody watch Without Parole like 2.5 years ago? I won't even turn the sound up because it's embarrassing. It's funny and it's ridiculous, and I have to get this out right now because I kind of want to slap former self in the face. Is that a possibility? Yeah, this is awful. I got to get rid of this. That was fun and then really embarrassing all at the same time. I had to do it. All right, it's out.
Oh, look at you!
Oh, he's so adorable. Yeah, I can't.
Oh man,
I'm like using my hands a lot. I mean, maybe I still do that, but it seems very obvious in this particular video. Okay, I gotta stop this right now. It's killing me. All right.
Okay, cool.
All right, so Readout looks good. So the trailer that we're showing is literally from 2.5 years ago or something like that. It's really old. It was even PlayStation branded, so I think even PlayStation thought this game was coming out a long time ago. So probably for the best that it went back into development. and I mean, it's hard. It's kind of hard to screw up flying around space and shooting bad guys. You know, like we said, End Space was fun. Even the God, what am I trying to think of? It's like episode 1. There's like
Space Rift. I hate that game. Don't even talk about it.
Why do you hate Space Rift?
No. Oh, it's terrible.
Oh God.
I mean, the voice acting and the cutscenes.
Absolutely everything about it
is just really bad. Don't get Space Rift.
Space Rift reminded me. I got it for like $2, and I was like, it's $2.
Yeah.
I really want my $2 back. Like,
wow.
I want to go, dude. It's like the worst of the Windows 95 PC games, and it's like just everything I hated about all the bad stuff in that, and yeah, it was just not good.
Yep. I don't remember. Like, I remember everything between missions being awful, like just terrible, like the voice acting being horrible and just like blown out and everything. But
so blown out.
But
you couldn't turn it down. It killed my ears. Like worse than the air horns.
But I do remember having like this like real sense of, you know, you're actually going to like this vessel drifting in space and stuff, and you actually have to fly around it. And I don't know. I just remember it being the actual flight mechanics being good. But maybe time has changed things. Maybe, you know, better games have come along.
We got 2 people that remember Colony Wars. That's right. They can't stop us. We will. There are dozens of us.
No, I think there were 2s of you.
Yeah,
it's you and 2 others.
Oh man, Colony Wars was getting some love on the thread.
Colony Wars is great, man. Psygnosis, right? Back in the day.
Yes, yeah. Actually, and a lot of that we got to do an interview with Dr. Dave when they worked on Arcus Path. I know, I know the game's not the greatest, but we got to meet with him, and I tried to like kind of incept it into his brain. I was like, yeah, you guys should do a Colony Wars, and he's like, you know, that's something that we could discuss. I'm like, oh no, everybody loves Colony Wars. Everybody knows Colony Wars.
Meanwhile, everyone's going, what the fuck is Colony Wars? I have no idea.
I tried, yeah. But yeah.
All right.
But yeah, read out, not to be confused. Read out. Looking forward to this one, you know.
Yeah. Speaking of which, where is Redout? That patch was supposed to come out like 2 years ago.
It's never coming. That shit's never coming.
It's weird, man. Like I felt those guys were so insistent that it was coming. I don't know what happened. Oh well. All right, moving on. What do we have next?
So JD, hold on to your butts.
Just JD.
Just JD.
Everyone else can go fuck themselves.
And he can hold on to his multiple butts. No. Gran Turismo is actually supposed to be getting 5 new cars next week. There is a tournament of World Championship event going on. JD actually filled me in on this because I tried to tell him behind the scenes. I'm like, okay, so, you know, I'm saving this for Gamescast, but I got to let you know, Gran Turismo Sports getting more cars. And he was like, yeah, every time there's a World Championship, they usually update the game with more cars and some mode or something.
Okay.
And
was that the Metal Gear exclamation point?
We got a $5 donation.
I like
from
that.
Nihilist Ryan,
like
the
that
game
one.
feline. He says this game makes me want Sylpheed in VR. I don't even know what
Nihilist
Sylpheed
Ryan, I'm in love with you.
Oh, guys, I just got an Amber Alert. If you're in Florida, look out.
What's up?
There's a kid on the loose. Bruce Higgins. He's 16 years old. He's in an Infinity G37 if you're driving in Florida. Amber Alert, guys.
But I'm not done yet.
Is this what we do here now?
Else.
Wait. Nihilist Ryan. Wait, we gotta pay attention to Nihilist Ryan real quick.
I just read his old comment out.
Sylpheed. You guys don't know what Sylpheed is?
I never heard of Sylpheed. What is that?
Oh,
I have to look it up now.
It was an old, like, Sierra put it out on PC, like the original version. It actually, and then it was like just kind of like a space shooter. And then it came to PS2. There was like a new version of it. No, let me get this right. There's a Sega CD version of it that was competing with Star Fox.
Right?
What's that?
Dude, this is so obscure.
This is so obscure. It's competing with Star Fox. So they were putting Sylpheed Sega CD versus Star Fox, right? This is how Sega was trying to compete with Star Fox by actually putting this game on Sega CD. But all it was doing was using pre-rendered backgrounds. It was like, oh, look how many polygons we're using, but it was all pre-rendered. It was just a shooter laid on top of this video. And then Sylpheed had another resurgence at the launch of PS2, where I think it was Game Arts, maybe, I forget who. The same people that put out Gun Griffin Blaze.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It's Game Arts. I'm looking at it right
now. And it was
now.
a Sega CD. It was a PlayStation 2 launch title. So man, Sylpheed has had this horrible like history of kind of fun games, but just not really well marketed, I think. It's good stuff though. And
it says, I mean, the Sega CD and the computer version both got 5s out of 5 and great reviews.
Ooh, that should not be a thing.
94%. That's good.
They're fun, but they shouldn't be 5 out of 5s. Hey, do we have a sound effect for Kill a Cell?
Oh, is there another one? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to
And redundant limes. Do it again.
Another one. Kill a Cell. You're killing me here. I think I found my phone. I dropped it. Which one do you want to hear again?
I want to hear the Metal Gear Solid noise.
Oh, I know you love that sound.
Yes, I do.
All right, well, keep talking because I have to do it in the middle of you guys saying something. It sounds like a real Dave interruption.
Scandro the Gamecast says, I think I had that on C64. Nice.
Okay, so Kill a Cell's got a $5 donation. Shut up, everybody.
Thank you very much, dude. Thank you, Kill a Cell. And thank you for the sound effect, Dave.
There's Dave's interruption for the day.
This is what I do now. This is my new job on the show.
Huh? What was that noise? I like how redundant lime said that in the
Excellent. Working designs on PS2. That makes sense. I remember this. I remember the silvery cover and stuff.
So one more thing I got to add about this Gran Turismo Sport. Now the 5 cars.
Wait, can't we just talk about Sega CD games for like the next hour?
I wish.
I never had a Sega CD actually.
Oh, well, then we have a lot to teach you, my friend.
I landed on the Dreamcast. I could tell you guys all about Dreamcast.
What's up, Preach? A Juice. Mako.
Is this the introduction? Do we need to get a cat video?
Dyson, fist bump to you.
There's one more thing I have to add. This is just a rumor, okay? This is not confirmed like the 5 cars being added to Gran Turismo Sport, but guys, there could be a level with rain. Rain. Oh my God, rain. Weather effects? Yes. So it is a possibility. I don't take it with a grain of salt. It's just a rumor. But there is some speculation saying...
Can we take it with a rain of salt?
God damn it.
There's either going to be a rain effect or a level that has rain. I don't know about you guys. You guys probably don't care because you don't play Gran Turismo Sport. But me and the Game Cats, we love it. And we would love to see rain. And screw you guys.
But Matt H says, rain has been coming to GT since launch. LOL. So we'll see if that happens.
So the rumor has been persisting for a while.
Yes. It's. I mean, I didn't lie. It's.
You didn't lie. Yeah, you didn't lie. It's definitely a rumor. I think there's plenty of other videos we can check rumors for. Real quick, I saw somebody ask. Ty Queen says, "Do you guys watch 3D Blu-rays on your PSVR? And which ones are the best?"
Yeah. They're good.
Finding Nemo.
No.
That's my favorite.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There's a lot of good, you can get really cheap, like IMAX 3D ones that are pretty cool. There's this Under the Sea one that I really like, and I've shown to people before. Also, I have like this, you guys know that band Kraftwerk? You ever heard of Kraftwerk? Mm-hmm. They have a live 3D concert thing that's pretty cool on the Blu-ray. I don't know. There's fun stuff out there.
It's funny. There's actually a lot of interest on watching 3D Blu-rays. Movies look really good. I've heard Dread, I think.
Oh, Dread? Yeah. You can get Dread for $5 on Amazon, too.
I've got Dread. Blu-ray. It's still in the cellophane. Everyone told me I had to get it, so I got it, but no one told me I had to watch it, so I didn't watch it.
True. I want to get a Alita, Battle Angel, because actually it's rare in the U.S. now for a movie to have a release that has a 3D Blu-ray in it. Usually got to go like Europe or something to get one. But the American one of Alita Battle Angel, which is a pretty fun movie to begin with, has a 3D copy in it. So I think I might grab that.
Kev Gret says, yeah, I have 200 3D Blu-rays. Ask me anything about them.
Jesus Christ.
Kev Gret, I suppose you could just answer the question. Which one's the best?
Yeah, what are the best ones?
Or you could just take us through all 200. I mean, we got time. We were about to talk about Sega CD games. I think this is more relevant.
I do want to know if Blade Runner 2049 is any good.
Yeah. I've actually watched part of that in 3D.
What I've noticed, all I can say is anything with special effects, I think, Brian, this supports why Pixar movies are so good in 3D VR is because any special effects look really good. Anything just regulars, it has that low blurry resolution, so it doesn't look great. But any special effects in that thing still look like it really pops out. So
and I just want to throw it out here real quick. If you guys are interested in watching 3D movies in VR, the PSVR does support obviously 3D Blu-rays, but if you want just a media device that you can slide on your head, the Oculus Go has a really good resolution, and it's very good for watching 3D movies if you have like files to watch.
All right,
so,
moving on. Let's
whatever. I'm just saying, it's just, if that's something you want to do, like it does look better than the PSVR, and there's more depth to the 3D there. But
I do want to say that I have Gamer 3D. You guys remember Gamer 3D? I have that, and
oh no, I never saw that.
It's whatever, you know. It was like a $2 thing, and I was like, all right, I think I remember seeing it somewhere. I don't know if it was in the theater or what, but I just don't. I don't know if the way they filmed it, it's got like some kind of lower frame rate, but when you combine the live action with the 3D with the lower frame rate and just the overall quality, it's tough to watch just because it's just too much, right? And that's coming from someone who plays VR like I don't know how many hours a day. So sometimes it's just the quality level isn't there to make it worth the purchase. Did Kevgret respond? Ready Player One, any Marvel movie, Avatar, Blade Runner 2049 is not great in 3D. It's just layering, no real pop-outs. Good to know.
One thing,
thank you, Kevgret.
Justin Juice in the chat said Into the Spider-Verse 3D, and I haven't tried that. I don't have the Blu-ray, but we did watch it in big screen on Quest, which is coming to PSVR at some point, which will be really cool. Yeah. But that was awesome in 3D too. That's really cool in 3D.
Take notes of the chat. I am highlighting this entire chat and saving this, copying it. Might just have to come back. But yeah,
all right.
3D movies. Awesome.
Gran Turismo. What's next?
Let's see. So let's go ahead and get this out of the way. Beat Saber. Those lovely little fellas and lady over there. They have given us a tease saying that something is going to be dropping on August 29th. And I believe they're going to be announcing what their next plans are, what their next OST. We know we have the custom color sabers and lighting going on, as well as the new OST 3 on the way. So I don't know if anything's going to actually be dropping, but they're saying basically we'll know by the 29th. And the two big things we know that are being added to the game are the new OST and the custom colors.
Right. They did show that screenshot with they turned everything black and white. So that answered the question we had the last time: is that a possibility? And the answer is yes. So either somebody at Beat Games is watching us, or somebody at Beat Games had the same question as us.
I mean, black and white are colors. It makes sense they'd be on there,
They are color and lack of color.
Well, it depends on if you're talking about light or paint. So we don't have to get all into that, but
I'm talking about light.
Okay.
I'm talking about Nier. I'm talking about Mellow.
Okay.
I'm talking about Death Note fans. I'm talking about.
Gotcha.
There we go. Okay, we're all caught up.
But yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm really excited to see. I do like that Jaroslav Beck is doing it and writing it because, like you said, the original OST was pretty good. It had a nice variety to it.
Yep.
Of course, it's going to be all electric, which kind of bums me out, but it doesn't matter. It's Beat Saber, and it's really hard to not have fun in Beat Saber. Let's put it that way. But
for more on how much AJ hates Beat Saber, please check out our top 20 discussion.
I gotta say that in order to find the order of certain games, we did have to be super critical. So if any of us come off as we hate a game or anything during that discussion, simply not true. It's just we had to duke it out using games' weaknesses and strengths, and a lot of games have them. Yeah. And Beat Saber actually moved up despite that argument. And I was totally cool with it. But I let it. I was very clear about what I would like to see in Beat Saber in the future.
It's all right. We all know how much Dave hates Firewall. You hate Beat Saber.
Yeah, right.
I hate Astrobot. I mean,
I just wish they'd put some heavy metal in Firewall, and then I'd be fucking satisfied.
Actually, I would love that. I would totally be. That's what I want. Firewall. I want heavy metal in Firewall.
Yeah. Fuck everything
else. No, I just. But I am very, very excited to hear this new OST for sure.
No, agreed.
And I wonder if it's going to have really difficult mapping like the last one, the last free update, or if it's going to be. Also, I wonder if it's going to be free. Or if it's going to be paid.
It should be. I think the OSTs are always free, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're getting to that point. We're getting to that point where I think it's. You start looking at the value, proposition. You look at Beat Saber right now and you go, oh, look at all these songs that it comes with, and you start saying, well, do we try to just keep increasing that value, or are we trying to make money off of the millions of people who have bought it? You know, so I'm curious to see this will sort of determine what happens from here on out. If OST and licensed music is all going to be paid, or if we're going to see a trend where it's always free OST and they're making that value proposition better, bigger and better every single release. I'm curious to know what their plans are.
Yeah.
Saber to Disturbed. As much as I want metal, I think I'd want something other than Disturbed.
They're just going to give you a Disturbed pack, and you're going to have to live with it, man.
Maybe old Disturbed.
This is what you asked for, AJ. You weren't specific enough.
I'm having like early 2000s flashbacks. And
I feel like it's one of those monkey paws that you wish on the monkey paw.
You get
it's all Nickelback. It's all fucking Nickelback and Disturbed.
Oh,
fuck me.
Nickelback's not metal? What are you guys talking?
Wow.
Just saying that, Nick.
I would pay $100 for every My Chemical Romance song. I'm just being honest. Yeah.
I just, like I said, just keep the variety coming. Whatever you do, even if it's, just keep the variety coming. I don't care if it's Imagine Dragons again.
No. We all care if it's Imagine Dragons again.
I'd rather not.
Imagine Dragons was fine once. We don't want Imagine Dragons again. Hey,
my money's on Maroon 5.
You get my point. I'm just happy to have something other than electronic music, but yeah.
Someone's gonna go talk to Courtney Love and see if they can get the rights to Nirvana songs.
Ugh.
The downside is
just give us Hole. We'll take Hole too.
Except there's only like 3 good Hole albums. I didn't know there was a new one after.
For one. Oh, really? They have a new one?
Well, I don't know how new it was. It was newer than the last one I'd listened to. I never listened to anything after Celebrity Skin, and then I found there was another one, and I listened to it, and it was awful. Awful. It's like
she's had some rough times.
She's put herself through some rough times.
When we're talking about classical rock, we love some of that. Captain Fuzzy Bottom, the Game Cat, saying like Guitar Hero, make different genres for sale.
Yeah,
and I totally agree. Give me a Beatles Beat Saber pack. Give me a thing. I will buy each and every single one if you just keep that coming. And like I said, I think this will eventually get there. They've said that's their plan, is to please everybody. You can't do that overnight. So it's a lot of people to please overnight. So. But we'll see.
It's a lot of people to please overnight. I like that phrase out of context.
I think we should get AJ's own custom T-shirt.
Overnight pleaser.
With just big, inappropriately shaped sabers.
The overnight pleaser.
But yeah, Beat Saber, looking forward to that. Good stuff. You guys ready to move on?
I was ready to move on an hour ago. Seriously.
So let's talk about a little game.
I'm always nervous when you say this. I'm like, do I have a trailer for this little game that you might be talking about? What could it possibly be?
I would like to talk just a little bit about No Man's Sky.
I might have a trailer for that.
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
So I think you guys are familiar with it. I'm not sure. You may have heard of it. If not, let me fill you in. No Man's Sky was developed in 2016. No Man's Sky is getting No Man's Sky Beyond. The updated new shebang is getting a physical release, and it's going to be happening on September 11th.
Okay.
Yeah.
From what I can see here, I know not the best day.
Yeah.
But
at least it's hard to forget. When's No Man's Sky coming? You guys remember the date? I remember the date.
I was trying to think like, what joke are we going to make here? I was going to say something about flying a ship into a base, but that's not bad.
No Man's Sky. Never forget.
Let's go ahead and stop it there, guys.
We'll cut it.
Cut that out.
Yeah, no one will ever see that.
But it will be cool to have for all you updated version, which is nice. I know Dave, you wanted to shed some things on or talk about a couple points, but hope everybody's loving it. I certainly am. They've been patching it daily. Yeah. They're on patch 2.09, which just came out today. And they're just continuing to work on fixes. They got a long way to go, but they're doing work behind the scenes.
Yeah. I mean, the first few days you couldn't even go to the new Space Anomaly, the Nexus, where you meet everybody without it crashing. And now it takes a little dips in frame rate when you first get there, but it actually runs. And for the most part, when I look through patch notes, I see stuff that looks like, oh, I know that issue, and they say they fixed it. So I'm very excited they've been so aggressive about all that. I don't have a whole lot to say more than that. There was this article on Kotaku. It's like one of their podcasts that they put up. And the headline is great. They say No Man's Sky is like fulfilling the childhood dream of VR. And then when you click into it and you listen to the podcast, one of the 3 people there is saying that. And then the head editor is making jokes about puking and saying all this shit. And he essentially says, I don't think I'll ever be able to get into VR. So I hate that we get coverage of a game that's so good, and like you still get that like idea that it's really there now. VR is actually that childhood dream. We're almost there. And then we got 2 out of 3 people like snarkily just making puke jokes on a major gaming website. So it just kind of pisses me off that we're still at that point. But we'll get there eventually, I guess.
People are ignorant. Can't fix stupid.
Do we know who the author of that was?
Well, so the guy who I'm talking about is Jason Schreier, who most people know. He's like the lead news editor.
Yeah.
And, you know, for the most part, I'm behind like a lot of his investigative shit. Like, I'm fine with that. It's well-researched, well-written.
He's like the last bastion of like video game journalism out there. So,
yeah,
so you have to respect what he's doing, but I don't agree with that statement.
Exactly. The thing to just say outright in that position, being that high up in a major gaming, you know, website that a lot of people look at, and I know people have shit against Kotaku, but it's still very popular. And just to say, like, bar none, I'll never enjoy VR games, but I'm glad you do. Like, that's just so close-minded to me. Like, you got to think it's going to be part of the gaming landscape. Yeah. You got to get on board. So it just sucks that we still have that going on, even with No Man's Sky, which is like one of the best indicators of this is what VR can be, guys.
Right.
So, I don't know.
Yeah. I will say that I feel like there's a reason that Hello Games is waiting to put out the physical version. This is just all speculation, of course. But if it was me, I'd be saying, well, what's a solid date that we can put out a physical version and have at least a majority of the updates on the disc, right?
September 11th.
Well, I mean,
that's the date.
Ignoring the specific date, I'm wondering if we're going to see a patch, like a pro patch, near the end of this month. I don't.
Hopefully, they can push it out before. I
don't know how long ahead.
I don't think a pro patch is anywhere near happening right now until they get each and every single one of these bugs worked out. Some of the issues I was reading about that are happening on the PC side, woof.
Yeah.
Like
they're way worse.
Files and they are. Theirs might look a little better, but they're like losing save files and stuff. I don't want any part of that.
Well, that's the one thing about PSVR, because it's a console. It's like everybody's got the same hardware, unless it's a pro, but it's like it's standardized. Whereas with PCs, it's so poorly optimized for all the different possibilities out there that people with sick fucking gaming rigs, like crazy expensive PCs, were still getting frame rate drops and really bad performance. So people were saying, hey, I actually played it on my PSVR more because I enjoyed that. Even with the blur, it's just smooth. It's rock solid for the most part. And you don't have to worry about any of that optimizing and stuff. So
yeah. I just think they're going to work out all the kinks first and then get to work on the pro patch.
I have a feeling, and I don't know how big Hello Games is at this point, but when it comes to, I feel like these are two very different things to tackle, right? And I feel like that there's probably people working on the pro patch, and there's probably people working on the bugs, specifically as they roll in and as they get encountered. I feel like they're probably both being worked on at the same time. That being said, I don't know how long it takes, and I do think it's weeks ahead of time that a game goes gold, where all the discs get pressed before they actually get to the hands of the consumers. So I don't know if that speculation is just it's just wildly inaccurate on my part, but we'll see. I think we'll see what happens.
The thing that's exciting to me about that... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Chaos, there is a physical copy of No Man's Sky, but this is a physical copy for No Man's Sky Beyond.
With all the updates in
2.
the VR patch.
Or
and I like Just Incredible saying like maybe expect 2 to 3 months for that.
Well, so the thing about that for me is that journalists who tried it out ahead of time said that their versions that they played were crisper on the Pro than what they saw in the release copy, which means that this isn't a new Pro patch that they're just now starting to work on. Right. And I would imagine instead of having a whole team on that separate from bugs, it's more like at this point going back and forth with Sony QA and saying like, okay, what do we need to get this certified? And that process can take time for sure, but I don't think they're still building the Pro patch necessarily. I think it's ready because people have played it in a Pro enhanced version already.
Right.
So
that's what it sounds like. So again, a lot of speculation.
Oh my God, Killicell, how much did you just get a bonus or something, Killa? What is going on? I don't even have a noise for you this time. Hold on. I still got an Amber Alert. Anyways, do you want to read it off?
I want to know more about this Amber Alert. Can we bring the kid's picture up on the screen? I feel like maybe we need to contribute to the hunt, the search for the kid.
I'm going, guys. I got to get out there. I'm looking for this Infinity G37.
Yeah,
I'll catch you on the next Gamescast.
I'm getting out there too, just in case he made a mad dash to Massachusetts. Who knows, man?
He might have got there that quick,
right?
Yeah.
16, man.
Honestly, no, but anyways,
Kill a cell, quadruple 7, $5 donation. He says they should give us a Splinter Cell in VR, and I say, yeah, why not? That sounds amazing.
Keep your eye on SYR1.
All right. Anyway, back to No Man's Sky.
Most of the bugs I encounter, besides a couple of specific ones that I don't want to go into detail because I am working on a video for this channel, and but basically most of the bugs I've encountered are during multiplayer. When I go offline, just play single player, I have like almost no issues. And I've been doing, I fell asleep the other day playing with a group of cats. And
in the headset? You fell asleep?
No, but I left my headset on and I came back to my game like 24 hours later and it didn't crash. So, and I was on the Nexus. So, and I had the online stuff enabled at that point. So
really,
they're definitely making progress.
So just to clarify real quick, in your actual settings, if you want to do what he's saying about avoiding bugs, there's this option for Ambient Multiplayer, and you want to disable that. And then you might also want to make it so only invite friends can join you, not just like anybody can join your game. But if you do that stuff, it runs way smoother, like he was saying. So if you're having trouble, give that a shot.
So the short answer is No Man's Sky is amazing.
Oh, it's so good.
So good.
It's amazing. So usually a game that has like some kind of graphics issues can turn me off. I think it happened with Skyrim until they got it patched. But this world is just so full of stuff and there's so much going on that it doesn't bother me as much. And there are several parts of this game that look phenomenal, even with some of the aliasing or blur or stuff like that going on. There are some really rough looking things like the Nexus, but like my planet with my big tall red or blue grass that it has,
the grass is so nice,
and like underwater, there's even in space. I don't know if my eyes are adjusting, but whatever it is,
you're going blind.
It looks pretty good.
Your eyes are adjusting. They're just fucking shitting the bed and making everything better.
They probably are. It's probably destroying.
Oh my god! Hold on, Nerf needs a sound. Hold on, I'm gonna get her a sound. This is a good one. I like this one a lot.
Gamer.
Thank you so much, Nerfenstein.
Hold on.
You better fucking hurry up then. I'm reading it. There we go.
On PSVR, please.
Pull over, everybody. We got a great recommendation in this tip right here.
Nerfenstein, aka Girly Gamer, with the $5 Australian donation, says Samba de Amigo on PSVR. Please think about how perfect
I would
that would be.
Die.
I mean, yeah, we've got two move controllers.
Space Channel 5.
It's
They're bringing
perfect.
Space Channel 5.
Yeah.
So I feel like if that goes well, Samba de Amigo, why not? Although the licensing is probably a big pain in the ass because they had like Ricky Martin and shit in there.
It's probably cheaper now than ever.
Oh yeah, Ricky Martin's probably giving away his rights at this point. He's like, take it, man. If you want to play that song, it's fine. It's all you.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, thank you very much, Nerfenstein. Much appreciated. We love you.
Thank you, Nerf.
So I want to say something real quick. I know I'm probably interrupting somebody about this. But I can't disagree with your opinion, AJ, but I will disagree with something that you said, and that's that like Skyrim pre-patch still had, like, as far as that open world, I mean, talk about, I know No Man's Sky has all these different planets and they're all procedurally generated and now have different wildlife and things happening. But when you craft a world like Skyrim, I feel like the graphics are less important in a game like Skyrim because of everything that's packed into that world. That you just wander from city to or town to town to town, and all the different characters you encounter and all the different buildings and actual created places rather than just procedural generation. So I'm just taking a slightly different stance than you. Not that I want to get into an argument, just wanted to give my 2 cents.
I think it's really down to what you prefer because they both have their own depth in different ways. And like for me, I'm more of a No Man's Sky kind of guy than a Skyrim kind of guy.
Oh, me too.
At the end of the day. But I can see why it wouldn't bring that sort of like, there's missions and there's sort of quests and stuff in No Man's Sky, but it's nothing like
I think it is an
RPG like Skyrim. It's more of a sandbox.
I'm so used to MMOs and stuff, and when it comes to RPGs, MMOs, JRPGs, I've never been the biggest like Western RPG guy. And so I think that has something to do with it. I'm used to like this crazy amount of variety, crazy amount of like different looking areas and stuff, and everything in in Skyrim is kind of like all based around a snowy place. Now you go into the caves and stuff, and the caves, the structures, everything looks phenomenal. A lot of the DLC has some like Morrowind looking stuff, and it looks pretty fantastic. But just knowing, because I beat Skyrim originally before VR, and just kind of knowing that it has some things that aren't exactly my biggest cup of tea. I was like, it was hard to invest in. Things like fighting the dragon was a lot of fun, but like I said, I think we all hope that No Man's Sky gets the same treatment that Skyrim did, because it is a big difference. And I am more of a sci-fi nerd than I am fantasy kind of nerd.
Absolutely, yeah. Same here.
Unless it's like dark fantasy or something like crazy evil stuff.
One thing they really got to get in No Man's Sky, though, in the next big patch, why can't we romance aliens yet? I want to be fucking a Gek or something and like having kids.
I'm no interest in that
build
stuff.
A house.
I didn't
build a house. Like Mass Effect. Make it like Mass Effect.
No, please don't.
Make the hot coffee scandal. Mako XL from I think Canada. I think I'm right. $2 donation. Shout out to AJ from Germany.
Shout out to Mako XL.
Hey, straight to you, AJ. Straight.
Wasn't he just in like the UK yesterday?
Yeah, he's bouncing all over the place. He wants to.
That's my dude.
Mako gets around.
Yes, he does.
Thank you very much, Mako. We love you as well.
Mako's a fantastic guy. But yeah.
Are we done with No Man's Sky talk?
I think we are for now.
We'll never be done with No Man's Sky talk.
Yeah, right.
And we do have, like I said, stay tuned. We will have a review very soon for it, and it's going to be on the top 20. It did make the top 20. Believe it or not, shocker, I know.
But will it make the top 40?
Don't even say top 40.
I'm never going to stop saying top 40.
You got mad when I said top 25, and now you're talking about 40. What's going on here?
I don't know. I get mad at you a lot.
That's fine. Well, I'm going to I'm sick away for 2 seconds, so you can shout at me in my absence.
Wait, he's going to leave, so I'm not going to mention this one then. Another game that kind of is getting a physical release, and it's going to be Gollum. We recently saw at E3 during the Upload VR showcase with Perp Games that they announced that Perp Games is going to have a physical edition of Gollum, and that it actually still exists. And I can't say I'm like super excited, but I'm happy to see that it's here, and I would love to buy that copy of it. I hope the game turns out well. We still don't really know much on it, but I know a lot of people have been asking for it for years, and we finally got it, and it's going to have a fall release.
I was shocked when I didn't have a trailer of Gollum downloaded and ready to go, but I guess that shouldn't be real surprising. I'm gonna download the I think it was from PAX 2017. It's like this interview they did with Highwire Games, but then they showed a lot of gameplay footage in the meantime. But 2017 was so long ago. I'm so curious to see what's changed in the last 2 years.
Well, most of the chat agrees with us. I mean, they're like, Preach. What up, Preach? He's saying, does Gollum actually excite anyone? I think it did at one point. I think a ton of people were excited about it because it was a launch game, right? Like kind of a launch announcement.
It was, as far as I know, the very, very first PSVR game to be announced, even all the way back when it was still called Project Morpheus. Right. So Gollum has, been around for as long as PSVR or longer. So the thing is, the reason it excites me, the reason I'm excited, and probably the reason that, I think it's easy to not get excited by this, because here we go. I found it. Here we go. God, fuck! It's in 720. This always screws with me. But the reason I'm excited for it the same way I was excited for Last Guardian. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry, Rody just said something.
What game are you excited about the same way you are Last Guardian?
The Gollum.
Oh, really?
Sort of. The difference is I was actually...
Did they make Ico before or something? These devs?
The big difference here is that I was actually like... I wanted Last Guardian to begin with because I'm a big animal person. And I'm like, like a big fuzzy bird dog thing. And so like I wanted that animal connection, the animal interaction. And Golem, when I saw the gameplay, it looked very basic. Now, that was years ago, so it could look very different by now. But I'm a big gameplay guy. I love good gameplay, and it goes a long way with me. And the gameplay itself, I was kind of just like, nah. It looked a little almost like first-person turn-based.
Yeah,
like,
they were showing off like the sword fighting and base. Is that a doorbell? Who's there?
Yeah, we got a 50k kroner, 50 kroners. 50 kroners from Jens Wistbaka. He says, "You guys rock. Keep up the good work."
And I think it's Jens.
Thank you, Jens. Jens. Oh, like Jens Leckman.
That guy. That's not the. That's not the N-Space guy, is it?
No.
Okay.
No, that's Justin.
Or no, we didn't talk bad about N-Space. No.
Oh, Justin something. Yep. Justin what?
Wasenko? Something like that?
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry.
I don't read my NDAs close enough, obviously.
Jens has been around forever. I should have known.
Thank you very much, Jens. We love you, and we appreciate the generous donation. So here's the thing, right? So Golem went, and I think this video that we're showing right here, and it's like a 9-minute video. There's this whole story segment, and I'm curious to know how interactive the story segments are. I think when you're sitting on this bed, I think you're like a sick girl, and you're sitting on her bed, or you are her sitting on her bed, and this guy is talking to you, and then you put on some kind of mask, I think, and that's when you take control of the Golem, and I think that's all like supposed to be pretty meta as far as VR is concerned. It's like, hey, you're wearing a mask and she's wearing a mask, and this is what she sees. And so I'm curious to know like how interactive these story segments are, and then once you get to the actual combat and the gameplay as the Golem. I know there's like a size thing, right? Because you shrink down to this tiny little size and you like walk through like these tiny little passageways out of her room through like these, this hole that a mouse made or something like that in her wall. And so it's interesting on that level, right? To say, okay, like we're going to play with scale and perspective, but then the only comment they showed off was basically a tutorial. And the tutorial they showed off was, hit this flashing part of your opponent's body, hit that now.
Right.
And
right.
So like how much does that tutorial reflect the actual gameplay? Every time I'm trying to do like this long-winded talk, AJ laughs.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm getting used to it.
Kev is just going all in on this Golem talk.
Yeah.
No, but no, I agree. Like, it is. I mean, I want you to continue, but no, I agree. It was kind of just like the tutorial. It seemed like it was very basic. It didn't look very good. But if it was a tutorial, to your point, if it was just a tutorial, then we got to wait and see. For me, I'm hoping that this has a really strong story. I think a really strong story could go a long way with this game.
Yeah, and the gameplay that we're showing right now, is definitely, like I said, playing with scale, and it's something I guess I really haven't seen before. So I don't know. I don't think we have a good feel for the moment-to-moment gameplay. I'm a little concerned that it's this, and then you go into combat mode, right? Okay, push this button and go into combat mode. Now swing your sword and hit the highlighted object. I don't want that to be the case.
Yeah.
So,
right.
I mean, it looks like it could be kind of
actual like real time
combat. Like you're this giant like kind of sword fighting guy.
Right. Except just like Undead Citadel, you're controlling the sword 1-to-1, so you're not slowly slashing anything. You have that quick control. Also, I remember when during this PAX 2017, not PAX, was it PAX? No. What is it? Whatever it was.
E3 like 5 years ago.
it was something. But whatever it was this
could have been Paris Games Week.
Could have been Paris Games Week, or could have been PlayStation Experience. Now I'm totally lost. I think it's PSX. These guys were saying at this point 2 years ago, for this build, that you would like lean forward and then your Golem would lurch forward, right?
That's a locomotion system?
Yeah, and so I'm curious to know that, but this is one of those things we've talked about before where their game is falling behind by the minute, right? They've gotten to try so many PSVR games and other VR games over the course of the last 3 years. I'm betting this is the cause of all the delays when they go, you know what? Our locomotion system is totally outdated right now. You know, it was outdated from almost day one. So, and they've gotten to try other locomotion systems. They've gotten to try other combat systems. And I think this is why it keeps getting delayed, because the visual...
I've noticed you've mentioned this before. You've mentioned this before about thinking that they're using feedback and getting to play other games, and
I hope that's the case, but to be honest, almost every dev that we've talked to or that I've seen an interview with, they try to keep up on what's going on in VR, but they are so focused on making their own game that it's really hard to stay abreast of what those changes are. So people will release a game and then realize afterwards, oh hey, somebody kind of did this better already.
Right.
So I hope that's what they're doing. I hope they have the leeway to do that and go back and tweak and make it better. But then at the same time, you got to think, like, if they had an original vision and now they're just piecemeal tweaking everything to try and get it to be what they think people want, is that going to be good either? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, looking at this footage, the problem is looking at this footage from 2 years ago, it looks, you know, despite what you might think of the gameplay that it's showing off, which is like fairly basic, the environments look like they're there. The you know, all of the
updated footage that they showed, the updated trailer, even though it didn't go much into it, it did look a lot more polished.
Yeah, I mean,
than
like,
what it did before.
So it already looked good 2 years ago. It looks even better now. So I'm curious to think.
I would say it looked okay 2 years ago.
I'm curious to know, like, what have they been working on? You know, they missed 2 release dates, I think, or 2 release windows, and now that they have this publishing deal with Perp Games, and I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be a PSVR exclusive. I'm definitely wondering, like, you know, did they say, okay, we finally made it, and we finally, like, reached our vision, and now we're ready to publish? Or did, between Sony and Perp, did they go, hey, you guys got to fucking shit or get off the pot? If this is just not working, we need to push it out there, recoup as much money as possible, and then move on to your next project.
I mean, time is money, man. The longer development, I mean, of course, you don't want to rush something, but geez, like, announce it a little too early, I think. But
announce it before PSVR.
Yeah,
right.
That's you can't be any more early.
Yeah,
but I'm
just
still
remind
looking
me.
forward to playing it. I'm hoping it's good. I'm hoping.
I know we don't need to spend too much more time on it, but do you guys know the devs?
It's a 9-minute video. We have a lot of time.
Well, do they have some pedigree, some history? Like, would I know anything they worked on, or is this just like brand new dev company, nothing under their belt? Like,
I'm pretty sure this is one of those examples of veterans of the industry with a combined total of 50 years of experience.
Right.
I think it's one of those deals, because I don't think Highwire themselves have actually put anything out. Here, I'm gonna go to their website right now, and let's see what they say about the team. Let's see. Well, it consists of 5 people. That's an issue.
Did you say 5 people?
It seems to be 5 people. When you say when you go to the studio and you click our team, they literally show 5 people. I'm like,
I hope they got a bunch of contractors or something.
I think we need to. I think we need to just leave it there, and maybe come back to Gollum when it's a little closer to release this fall. There's just nothing to go off of right now. There's really nothing to go off, whether it be good or bad. All we really know is that there's a physical release, that it looks a little bit more polished. But other than that, I don't want to spend any more time on this.
Well, you're out of luck, because their newest post on August 21st says, "We're hiring. Highwire Games is looking to fill a few positions for our next project. Think you have what it takes to step out onto the wire with us." But they're saying next project, right? So they're not.
That means Golem's almost.
It better be fucking done, right?
Yeah,
it's almost there.
Zing was made in 6 years with 3 people.
6 years with 3 people.
College students.
We're real close, man. Like were
they in college for all 6 years?
No, they were for like half of it.
It was a student project for like the first couple of years, and then
yeah.
But yeah, so this, I mean, unless they're not showing their full team, I think we need to be very. Just cautiously optimistic, as always, right?
Well, there's a little girl in a room that they hired to control like 5 or 10 other devs to work on the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic.
AJ didn't get that one.
It's all right.
Did you watch the trailer? Do you know what the game is like, AJ? Is a little girl controlling a golem with their mind?
Yeah. Yeah, I just missed what you said. I'm sorry.
That's all good.
All right, now we can move on, AJ. We can make AJ's day and get the fuck out of Gollum talk.
Yes. Okay. So let's shift our attention to a quick discussion that we want to have real quick, and some things we might get to see. Recently, Sony has acquired Insomniac Games. Now, I don't know if you know Insomniac Games, but they're kind of a big deal. They have a long history of making really popular titles. They've been smashing it lately with, they just made Spider-Man, and it was huge. But really, the intriguing part for us about this is that they've developed a couple VR games. And in particular, there's one, I made the video recently on the cloud saying I would love to have Resistance in VR, and I still stand by that. However, I'm not going to beg them to make another Resistance VR or anything, because the truth is they've made a lot of Resistance games, and they've really almost borderline beaten a dead horse with it at this point. If they were
Wait, are we still talking about Insomniac? I didn't think Insomniac made this.
Which games are we talking about? Spider-Man?
Resistance? Resistance. Did Insomniac make Resistance?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I have no clue what I'm talking about.
They made every single Resistance, 1 through 3, and they did the PS Vita ones as well.
They didn't make
and
the
they
Vita
basically
ones. The Vita one would have been way better if they made it. That was
okay. Right.
It was okay.
But I think they did have some involvement with it. But however, the whole point is that they've really done everything they can with it. But there's a game that they have that released a couple years ago in flat screen, and I think there was like maybe a PC VR port of it or something going on. But
what's the name of the game?
The game that I want to see is called Edge of Nowhere, and I want to see that come to us on PSVR. It's a horror survival that takes place on a mountain, like a snowy mountain thing. Dave, kind of like you said, it looks like Dead Space 3 if it was good. Kind of good. But I just love the idea. Insomniac making. I'll take anything they make in VR because honestly, I just from a big studio like that, I will take anything. I think what I really think they're doing is I think it is actually possible that they could make a Spider-Man VR game or a new Spider-Man sequel, and then it have VR compatibility PS5. Now you can go. Thank you.
Okay. So I think Insomniac has already done some Oculus exclusives through Oculus Studios as far as VR goes. At least one, right? Somebody in the chat tell me if I'm right here. But is Stormland, is that Insomniac?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought. Edge of Nowhere, also you said Oculus exclusive. This came out through Oculus Studios. The interesting thing here is Sony has done a great job already with exclusives on PSVR. And to buy a company that not only made great flat screen PS4 exclusives, or just like generally, not even just PS4 like in the past too, to take them away from Oculus and say, okay, guys, we own you now. All your VR shit's coming through PlayStation. That's really exciting to me. Honestly, I want to play Sunset Overdrive VR. That sounds fucking dope. Like, give me my Jet Set Radio as much as possible in VR, and I would love it. But it's so many exciting things that could come out of that. Existing franchises, new franchises that won't be Oculus exclusive anymore. It's just really, really exciting news.
Infamous also.
Yeah, Infamous. Yeah,
they have a long list.
Wait. Infamous was Sucker Punch.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
Okay,
that might be.
Sunset Overdrive was Insomniac, right?
It was. I thought that was the same people. You keep talking all.
Sunset Overdrive was Insomniac.
Sometimes I get them mixed up with the people who made Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Neversoft?
Which is like Neversoft, yeah. For some reason I
get there. Later on.
Or Activision.
Yeah, it was Neversoft is who I was thinking of with the eyeball logo and stuff.
Yeah.
Lots of developers, and especially when you have like the different characters running like over power lines and stuff like that as a method of traversal, I can totally see like Infamous and Sunset Overdrive overlapping in a lot of people's minds. But no, I totally agree with you, Dave. The question for me is that just because Oculus published all these VR games in the past, I'm curious to know if that was a limited time exclusivity contract.
I doubt it. I think that Oculus, the same way Sony does, funds its own exclusives, and they give the developers money to make sure it comes out well. Okay. And so if Oculus sunk money into those games, they're probably not going to let them go.
Yeah.
And they need their exclusives. They got to hold on to those anyway. So I'm sure there's something in the deal to like cut those off and say these are still Oculus properties,
right?
But moving forward, whatever.
But yeah, so to take that experience and then to suddenly start making PSVR exclusives, kind of unbelievable. And looking at this trailer for Stormland, is that what it's called? I keep wanting to call it Stormfront.
I know. I'm afraid. The only reason I haven't mentioned it,
you can't remember the name. You can't remember the fucking name.
Stormland or Stormwind, but it's supposed to be really cool. Really cool. I saw Stormland.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I keep mixing it up with. I kept calling Stormwind Stormland, and now I'm afraid to say whatever storm this is because I just don't know anymore.
It's a fucking shitstorm. Yeah, why do all video games have, and the further we get into video game history, right? As we push forward, all video game names just start sounding exactly the same.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right.
I agree with
you. We need to get creative with these things. So, all right, well, that's exciting news, right? Obviously, Des and I talked pretty extensively about what we think Insomniac should do, especially, I think at this point, I think Sony's like not saying, hey, make a PSVR game. They're probably saying, hey, make a PS5 and PSVR 2 game. Let's really knock it out of the park. Let's put some AAA titles on our next gen consoles. And
I think PS5 title, man. Give us a PS5 VR title.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
I mean, if they're starting development on anything now, it's got to be a PS5 game, no matter what, pretty much. I mean,
and I think the time is coming where we're not just gonna be seeing, here's Headmaster on PlayStation VR, and then here's something else on PS5, right? I think the time is coming where we're going to see a whole lot more, cross integration. I'm trying to do this right here. That's what I'm trying to do. Where we're going to start seeing games. Lloyd's in the basement and he's flicking all sorts of switches, man. Like games that are PS5 are also going to be PSVR 2. I think we're going to see a lot more cross support for future games. We're not just going to have to have a whole separate library of games for VR.
I see a lot of people in the chat saying they would love a Ratchet and Clank VR. I know you put Ratchet in the thumbnail. What would you think about like a Ratchet and Clank, like either spin-off or experience?
Oh my god, give me that shit yesterday. I would play the fuck out of that. Ratchet and Clank's one of the best platformers.
Something smaller like Booty Bay, I think it was called. Like
I don't want an experience. I want a full Ratchet game in VR.
Oh yeah,
just like Astrobot, but with all the upgrades and everything.
Yeah. Obviously, a experience isn't going to be as cool, but I think I don't know. I would like to see that. I would like to see that world in VR. Just a cartoonish, but charming kind of world like that. I think it would look really.
Apparently, Kilocell 777 is buying all the pizza tonight. Shout out to Kilocell 777 for the $5 donation. Says, give us Half-Life 3 VR.
Agreed.
Sure.
But with Valve's recent moves, I don't think that's
going to be a Valve Index.
No, it's going to be. And they have announced. Exclusive. They did announce they're working on games for VR, but it's not going to come to PlayStation. Not for a while, I would imagine.
Yeah,
they're trying to move their own PC headsets.
It's a shame, man. Like VR already is so segmented, so fragmented, right? It seems like such a shame that we're not all that we obviously we're a PlayStation VR channel, we're PlayStation VR gamers, and we're excited for things that are PlayStation VR exclusives, especially ones that have Sony money behind them. Blood and Truth, crazy polished because they've got Sony money, right? And so I think that's why we get excited about exclusive games. But really, man, I wish we could all kind of come together and just get cross-platform support for everything, cross headset support.
I saw people making a big deal of that thing where the Oculus head was saying, "Oh, I'm cool if we switch exclusives with Sony. That'd be fine with me."
Right.
And people were saying, "Oh, this means all these games are going to come to Oculus." And no, that doesn't mean any games. Like, I don't know. I saw this YouTube video of some guy saying, "Oh yeah, dude, Astrobot's going to be great on the Quest, and this is going to happen because Oculus said they were open to trading exclusive with Sony."
That's not how it works.
And like, that's not how it works. That's Oculus making people think they're a cool company by saying something that will never happen. Because Sony is in the position of being the market leader.
Right.
Why would they give away exclusives? They only stand to lose from that.
Right.
So they would never, ever, ever do that.
They need a fat sack of cash if they're going
to and Oculus isn't going to make their exclusives available on PSVR unless Sony plays ball and does it both ways, because they're still standing to gain a lot from that. There's nothing they would lose, except for people buying an Oculus Rift, I guess. I don't know. Anyways.
Right. What trailer's been playing for the last hour? I don't even know.
Gollum.
Oh, that would be amazing. Let me put Gollum back up. No. All right, probably time to move on to our next topic.
Yes.
Yeah, let's talk about some shit. Oh, we haven't even talked about
really exciting news, though. I am so excited to hear that they have acquired them. What's up, Dave?
Oh, well, we've got so much news. I feel like we didn't even talk about the game we played this week.
Because we haven't finished talking about news. There is yet another release date that we need to talk about that Kev Gret will finally be happy we talked about. And that's because we got a release date for
Chapter 2 of Immortal Legacy is already releasing.
Oh God, I hope that's the case. I can't. That'll make me so happy. That'll make me so happy. Yeah. In fact, this is Tequila Works, Groundhog Day, like father, like son, with a release date. Is that correct, AJ? With a release date? What was the release date?
Oh yeah.
That release date is going to be September 17th, and available. Pre-order
17th, is that what you said?
Yeah.
He cut out at
the worst time.
Oh, really?
September 17th.
September 17th. It's going to be $29.99, but there is a pre-order available right now with PlayStation Plus for $26.99.
Okay. And we should mention that Tequila Works are the people who made the very good Invisible Hours, which is probably the best narrative sort of. I don't know. It's one of the best narrative experiences on PSVR, I think. It's really cool. It's really well done.
Yep.
And the writing is very good. So I have, it plays with time in the same way that Groundhog Day seems like it might, because they have that thing where you loop back and you go forward and you jump around. What are you guys laughing about? Can you not hear me?
No, I'm laughing because Killicell Quadruple 7 gave us yet another $5 donation and said they gave us Half-Life on PlayStation 2.
I need another owl sound. I got to bring back the owl sounds again.
Killicell, we appreciate the donation, man. We love you, but I think the PlayStation 2.
Well, I want to say also, we got another donation from Coco the Poop Cat Dog. Three bearded beauties. If I were different, my pants would be off right now, he says.
If you were different, we'd have a lot to talk about, Coco.
You guys cannot pay attention to what any facial expressions I'm making. Because
I try not to look at you.
While you guys are talking, I am usually reading the chat.
I know.
And this is an eccentric bunch, so
yeah.
I'm trying to keep them in line. Okay.
Oh yeah, well no, you're great, man. You're a great babysitter. We appreciate you. Killicell Quadruple 7. I just want to say I think we're talking a little bit different situation with the PlayStation 2. I don't know if you're joking or not. Maybe you are. Maybe you're not. But yeah, I loved when we got Half-Life on PlayStation 2. That was great. I played the crap out of that.
Maybe, right?
The Orange Box was PS3. I also loved that. That was amazing. Yeah. That was actually my first time playing Portal and Half-Life 2.
Good one. Well, Coco, I love Coco. He's on my list. He plays every game. I mean, he could work for Without Parole and possibly know more.
I think Coco falls asleep with the headset on a lot.
Very close.
Because I see him playing the same game for 14 hours at a time, at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, maybe. But we do have some a little bit of other info. Like you said, Tequila Works, great reputation. They made Invisible Hours, which is a fantastic interactive movie, mystery drama thing. And then they also made
Sexy
Rhyme,
Brutale,
which had a lot of buzz back in the day.
And like Brian just said, Sexy Brutale, that got a lot of good feedback, and that's similarly story-driven, mysterious kind of uncovering what happened. So yeah. So they've got a good rep.
They're saying this game is approximately 8 hours long. It's essentially going to be full of puzzles.
But you have to play it 15 times.
It looks like
it's the same 1 hour 8 times.
That's probably that's actually probably the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does show off more gameplay in this. It looks kind of like a mix between Job Simulator, but the one difference is this is actually a sequel. It's called Like Father, Like Son to Phil. You're playing as Phil, Bill Murray's son's character or whatever, and you're stuck in kind of the same reality. And this has a nice.
Is he Phil Murray? Is that what you're saying? You're playing as Phil Murray, the
Puxatawny Phil.
No, I can't remember. His name was like Phil or something, but in the movie.
I gotta search for things.
Bill Murray is one of my favorite actors ever. I should know this. He is my favorite actor. So, but there's a nice mix of comedy in here too, which I think is going to go along. Most like literally
Phil
70.
Phil Connors.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. And you're playing as like Phil Connors Jr. or like Will Connors or Bill Connors, something like that. But
Jill Connors?
Ooh, it's possible. No, it's definitely his son. Yeah.
It features a lot of the same characters that were in the movie. The cartoon style looks but
it looks a lot like a Telltale game. I can't stop thinking Telltale, like The Walking Dead or Telltale.
I can see that.
That's really not a bad thing.
I mean, it's okay, and you know that using that graphical style will like allow them to like keep the resolution real high, make everything look real crisp. It's going to look really nice, I'm sure, in the headset. My question is, I keep seeing the same as we watch this trailer loop over and over. I see no locomotion, and my biggest complaint with Invisible Hours was I didn't like teleporting everywhere. I just wanted to walk around, and so I'm hoping that they give us an option with this. This I'm sure they got a ton of feedback with Invisible Hours. I know that when I saw the feedback, especially on Reddit, that was everybody's biggest complaint. They just didn't like popping around. Yeah,
that almost actually broke the game for me at the very beginning, but then I got used to it. That was something I wasn't crazy about.
Yeah,
but
it's one of those things you should get over. Like, don't keep yourself from playing it because of teleportation. It's an amazing game.
I mean, teleportation, snap turning, blinders, those are deal breakers for people. And those are absolute deal breakers. And I don't blame them half the time.
Some games can overcome that. No, some games can overcome that. I think Invisible Hours does overcome that completely.
Yes, but that's 100%. An interactive movie. Like,
Well, this looks like it might be along the same lines. Or, I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure, but
I know what you're saying. This is like not along the same lines.
More interactive.
Like this isn't something that requires like Sirento movement. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course not. Yeah.
But I will say like 70% of the trailer, I was like, this looks kind of boring. But then that last like 20-30% of the trailer, I was like, it showed a little bit more like exposition and some like actual comedy stuff going on, some action, some different interaction with characters, and that I'm hoping to see this game do well. I don't really have the highest of hopes for it, but I am hopeful.
I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be a solid game. It's not going to like be number one on the top 20 or anything, but like I think it's going to be a good solid.
I'm hoping.
I think they can make good. They haven't really released any poor products, Tequila Works, that I know of.
Right.
I like,
and I should also mention the guy who worked with Tequila Works on Invisible Hours. I don't know if he's still with them, but he wrote Farpoint as well, and that had a much better story than it really needed to. I kind of liked the exposition in Farpoint. I was into it.
I love the story of Farpoint.
Yeah.
Death. That's probably my favorite story of any PSVR game that I can think of off the head.
I will say the Your Long Shadows put up a pretty good comment that sort of reminded me about the original Groundhog Day movie. Your Long Shadows wrote Suicide by Toaster, huh? That got dark. And I totally forgot that, like it wasn't just Bill Murray going to sleep every night and waking up and having it be the same day. Like
he tried to kill himself
like 100 times, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm assuming that is part of this part of this narrative.
Looks way more lighthearted.
Yeah, but like
I mean,
you
have a game where you're playing as a kid and you try to kill yourself a bunch of times?
Well, no, but I'm saying that death could be a mechanic. Like when like the whole you're reaching into the toaster, it might not be intentional. You're trying to avoid death, but then you die and you wake up. It's the same day.
That would be fun. That would be fun. I like that.
Kill yourself over and over.
I'm betting this could get very dark. Maybe not to the same level of suicide, but I think it could get very dark. Seeing the same day over and over, and all the different reasons, that day ends in the first place. Could be interesting. Yeah. All right, I'm very excited for this one. In September 11th? No, that was the wrong day.
That got me. 17th.
They should have picked a better release date, man. I would have been able to remember. More memorable date.
On September 11th.
Would remember that one.
A little bit more excited about it.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yep. All right. Is that the end of our news?
No.
Oh God!
Seven more hours.
Over 2 hours of news.
Yeah. 7 more hours, guys.
Jesus Christ.
But
save me from this news.
I don't know if you guys saw. There was another trailer. Brian, I didn't tell you to get this one in advance, and I apologize. Did you see the new Alice in Wonderland trailer?
game?
Yes.
No.
There is, in fact, an Alice coming to PSVR, and we don't really have much details on it. They just showed a quick trailer.
Ooh, I think I might have seen this.
Yeah. Now,
does it look awful?
It looks just okay. I was a fan of of Alice. Who was the one who made those? The dark ones, the really dark Alice games, like Alice and Madness Returns.
Is this because Alice? Is this Alice VR or is it Alice in Wonderland?
This is I think it was called Alice in what was it called? Hold on. Oh, it was called Down the Rabbit Hole. It was called Down the Rabbit Hole. And I think it's actually a puzzle game. What we can do is while you get that, well, I guess you can probably pick it up real quick. But yeah, it should be called Down the Rabbit Hole.
I found it.
Well,
thank God it's not the Rabbit Hole game that we reviewed on PSVR, which is absolute garbage.
Yeah. This looks like very story-driven, puzzle-driven. I don't really, Oh, thank you, Guy-san. Fist bump to you. He says the McGee, the Alice McGee or something.
American McGee made
American
the
McGee.
talking
Thank
about,
you. Yes. They weren't the greatest games, but I still liked them a lot.
Okay.
I was a big fan.
The sequel was decent. The first one did not age well.
No, it did not. But I still liked it. Yes, thank you guys. American McGee's Alice was awesome for me back in the day.
Is that a real guy's name? Is his name fucking American McGee? That's got to be fake, right?
No, it's probably real. I think hippie parents.
Jeez, what kind of hippie calls their kid American McGee? That sounds like...
I don't know. But anyway, here's a trailer for Down the Rabbit Hole VR.
Yes. And, if it has... I could actually be kind of interested. I've always kind of liked this world. I've always thought it was a pretty neat world. Yeah. And, especially if it gets kind of dark, it could be cool. But, not typically my cup of tea, but still was a nice announcement to see. And, it definitely, obviously, we'll be playing it once it comes out.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll check it out. I don't give a shit about Alice in Wonderland. I never really have. But if the game's fun, it's kind of like Doctor Who. Like, I don't watch Doctor Who, but I'll play the game.
I'm seeing stuff I like, and I'm seeing stuff I don't like in this trailer.
Right.
Same. It doesn't look like you're controlling Alice with the analog stick or anything like that. It's more like you're drawing lines to show her where to walk, and then you've got these big ghost giant type hands where you're like picking things up and that kind of stuff. So I don't know. It looks like it could be okay. I hope it's not expensive. I hope it's good. Who's the developer on this?
It would be. I'm gonna have to answer that in a minute.
Looks like Cortopia Studios.
Oh, right.
And
Cortopia?
Yep.
Yeah, Cortopia.
Never heard of that.
Nope. I'm looking them up right now.
But yeah, like I said, if this game has good graphics and it could be really good. That's all it needs to be good. Is just good graphics and a good story. Good music.
Oh. Wow.
Oh, they made Wands, which was a popular game on Oculus Go, I think.
Yeah.
Wand. Yeah. It's one of the best sellers, I think. It's like a PvP magician kind of casting spells game.
Was that
I don't see any other game on here that they've made, though.
No. Was that published by Oculus? Is there a chance we're getting Wands?
I don't know if it was published by Oculus. It says we are an independent publisher.
Yeah.
I can't find out for sure. I'll look on the Oculus store. It's okay. I played it on Go, but I played it on Go. So, you know.
Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. Probably moving on to our next news story, AJ.
Yep. There was another game that was announced called Blindfold. And this one's kind of weird. It looked like they had you starting off in Iran or something, and you're being interrogated. You're not interrogating someone, but you're being interrogated. And he talks about in the trailer, like, nod your head. If you know.
I hate that mechanic. I fucking hate that mechanic.
It seems like something very story driven. Again, I don't know. I don't really get how this is a full game. It could just be maybe leaning towards an experience.
They call it an experience in the trailer and in the title, I think.
They do call it an experience. Okay, so some kind of war-based experience, and all taking place in an interrogation room.
There's nothing more exciting to me than putting on blindfold while I'm in VR. You know, sounds very good.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't look
black.
like my cup of tea, but you know, it could be an interesting experience.
Waterboarding VR, the experience, maybe.
I like this.
Maybe.
I like where we're headed.
So you want to keep it moving?
No,
you got anything to add?
The trailer's finally playing. I don't know how I didn't have it prepared ahead of time. And I'm curious. I'm curious what they can do with this mechanic. And you know, obviously you're tied to a chair, right? And of course, the last time we saw that, I think, was the kitchen Resident Evil demo.
Yeah.
Right.
So like, there are cool things you could attach to this to make it, you know, to make it something scary, to make it something impactful. But this trailer isn't doing any favors at all. So
the graphics don't look very good.
Oh, it looks like the other guy's in a blindfold. I'm not even in a blindfold.
Well,
it's
at the beginning of the trailer, they show a blindfold coming off of your head.
Right.
So I think you're probably two people in two chairs being interrogated.
Gotcha.
The graphics look like PS2 graphics. They look like that Fear of Bugs game.
Hey! Don't diss Fear of Bugs. Don't. Oh no! Wait, I didn't like that. I'm sorry. No, that's the problem, right? You like Groundhog Day can get away with PS2 cartoon graphics. You're making a serious, you know, if you're trying to tell a serious narrative here, a serious story about torture, and they're trying to scare you, then it's tough to get away with that when the graphics look like PS2 games. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Is that it?
That's it for this one.
Oh wow! I thought you were going to say there was. I was sure you were going to say there was something else.
There's
definitely something else.
Okay.
Demo. Let me see. Yeah,
I'm excited about this one.
Yeah, you said you were really excited for.
So excited we got a golf clap.
Which is a rhythm-based, like, kind of anime-looking game. You guys seem to know a little bit more about it than I do.
So this is a developer. I think it's Rayark, I want to say is the name of the company. They've done a lot of mobile games, but some of them have come to Switch. And they have one rhythm game called Voez on Switch that I really, really like a lot. And basically, a lot of them are just sort of like tapping notes on a screen as they come up, you know, in a typical rhythm game kind of way, but with a touch screen.
Even the Vita version was a lot like that.
I'm super curious to see what they do with Demo in VR, because this is a game Demo is specifically about playing piano, I think. Most of it's centered around like the stuff you hit triggers a piano note instead of just, you know, tapping the thing, whatever. But I just really can't even imagine how they're going to make it a VR game, but I want to play it because it sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, watching this trailer and everything they've showed for the PSVR version, they're taking quite a departure from the other games. Like they're literally showing third person exploration, which has not been part of any other game in the series so far.
Interesting thing though is that even though these are all rhythm games on mobile devices, they all have like a story element, which I could never even really wrap my head around. I didn't even know why it was there, but they've always had that. Like in Voez, certain stuff will unlock a new memory that you look at and shows you like part of some backstory.
Right.
And I haven't played enough to know how it all fits together or anything.
But
it looks like they're really playing that part up around the rhythm game, which is looks pretty cool to me.
From the trailer, the one thing that really stood out to me, obviously the gameplay in VR looks like it would be some kind of like you said, you're playing the piano in almost like a Beat Saber kind of way.
I don't know.
Or like rhythm-based way. I really like the music in the trailer. It reminded me, we mentioned Nier Automata earlier, the music kind of reminded me of that Nier Automata kind of
That is
music.
one of the best soundtracks too. I fucking love the Nier soundtrack.
I do too.
Really good.
So that to me actually has, of all the things in this game, that has the most my interest the most is the music itself.
Yeah.
You know, that's all I really know about it. I don't really know much about this game.
Yeah, Dave, for any of the experience you have with the mobile games, there was no direct control over a character at any point, right? You were just unlocking stuff, watching stuff.
Nope.
So this is all new for this version of the game.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
I'm really curious, I'm assuming that all the puzzles are going to be like, you know, music based or whatever. But I mean, the art style looks beautiful. You know.
Yeah.
And honestly,
people might not know about them as far as VR development goes, but they've made a ton of games and they're making that mobile money. Cell phone games, motherfucker. They probably got some cash. It looks pretty polished, honestly.
It does. Yeah. I'm curious. Very curious. We'll see what happens. All right, and then, so wait, did this get a release date? Is that why we're talking about this?
No,
I hope
release
so.
date. It got a new trailer, and
I don't think this is the new trailer.
Are you playing the old trailer?
Most definitely.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did get a release date, November 1st.
November 21st?
November.
Yep.
That's so far, but it's fine.
November 21st.
Just in time for the next top 40.
Yes.
The next top 40. Are we doing one before then, and then we're going to do a second?
We're doing weekly top 40s. This is
okay.
This is Dick Clark. In case
you're going to have to start giving us some of those donations if we're sitting here all fucking day doing top 40s.
And that, gentlemen,
so top 20 it is. Yeah. Okay.
Concludes 99% of the news I had.
The
rest of it, I think we're good.
I'm burnt out on news. I've had enough today.
I love it, man. Can't get enough of it.
So we should probably talk about the games we've been playing.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's an important one that you guys are going to want to hear. I know a lot of people are interested in Afterlife, and we have some
really?
details.
Nobody's interested in Afterlife.
Did you just make that up?
He's lying.
Of course I did. Of course I did. Come on. What's
the
going
Afterlife.
on here?
I want to make you throw your notes as often as I possibly can.
Who wrote that? So who performed that song in the Afterlife?
I hit my Red 13 figure. That's not good.
Squirrel Nut Zippers. That's right.
Oh,
it was called Hell.
Nut Zippers, huh?
I totally forgot. That's the song I keep thinking. Like, in the afterlife, you could be headed for some serious strife. I'm reading the lyrics off the screen right now.
It's better than Cherry Poppin' Daddies.
I think they're neck and neck for just being fucking terrible.
Well, I just think the name Cherry Poppin' Daddies is fucking skeevy as hell. Like, if you had thought about this in 2019, there's this band on the radio. Hey, our name is Cherry Poppin' Daddies. Yeah. That's what we fucking do. Bro.
I don't think I was there when that band came out. I never thought of the name of the band and what it meant.
Yeah, it's weird.
We should. Nick says just rank all top to bottom. Then you only have a slot. Have to slot the new ones when they come out. You know, I think if and when we hit 100,000 subscribers, I know that Nick. I think if and when we hit 100,000 subscribers, we should rank every single game, PSVR game, from worst to best.
I love that Nick knows how this should all go down.
I know.
As an active participant in the last voting process, if I was Nick, I'd be taking a serious step back and going, maybe just to let them do what they want. Oh, Nick, I love you so much. We got to talk about Afterlife.
Yeah, unfortunately.
All right, who wants to take the lead on this one? Because I don't.
You don't, Brian?
I'll take the lead on this one. So Afterlife is basically a 360 video, right?
Yeah.
And it's $6. So we got to keep this in perspective. It seems like a couple that they lose their son in a horrible bathtub accident.
Which you don't see, but you just hear, which is ridiculous.
This isn't
you're
supposed to be funny.
At an empty. You're staring at an empty. You're staring at a fucking empty bathtub, and you hear these people crying, and they're like, "My son, my son!" And the subtitles are like, "He hits his head on the faucet and he dies." And you're like, "I'm just staring at an empty bathtub. This sucks."
Yeah. So it is having family going through grieving for the loss of their son, and it is like a 360 video. These 360 videos are so weird because when you move, like this one actually looks pretty decent compared to most.
That's why it's 8 gigabytes. Yeah.
It's still like a little bit further away. Close, it looks decent, but then you go a little bit further, and then that blur kicks in. Just the resolution just isn't there for these types of experiences.
We need to talk about this before we move on. Like, we need to stick with this 360 video topic before we move on to the rest of the game.
Oh yeah.
Because can I just add one thing about the 360 videos?
Yes, absolutely. I want to make sure we're moving on.
Every single one of these 360 videos I played, I don't know if this is you guys too, but it doesn't work very well. No. It's like this one actually displays some sense of 3D space a little bit better than like, let's say, Titanic. But there's something weird about these where, like, if you move forward a little bit, like, you notice like the rooms and stuff kind of move with you as well.
Because there's no 6 degrees of freedom in it. It's a 360 video. It's just strapped to your face essentially. So if you lean forward, it has no sense of VR space for you to move forward in.
I think they were trying to do something a little different though. Like there's a reason this has a little bit more sense of 3D space, and it's because whatever system they were using to capture footage with was it seems like they were creating layers of 360 video. And so if you're doing what I kept doing on each scene was the left eye, right eye test, right? Blink one eye, blink the other eye, and like things in the foreground were moving further back and forth, and then things in the background were like moving slightly less back and forth. And that
so it is actually stereoscopic in some way, because to me it looked flat as hell. It looked higher quality than Very VR or like some other 360 video. But I think that's just because they put the highest quality video they could and made it 8 gigabytes for an hour-long game.
I think
just staring at.
I don't want to say stereoscopic because I've seen VR 3D video, that does a good job, right? And this isn't that, but this I feel like does have layers, and I think they didn't get that process totally right, because if there's a table kind of close to you, instead of it being close to you, it looks you just kind of see both images, and when you do turn your head, like AJ was saying, that kind of pulls with you in the worst possible way. For a game with no movement,
but it's noticeable.
For a game with no movement, my stomach was turning. I was like, I don't feel good in this game. Just watching a video, because I was turning my head and looking at everything like you have to do, and it didn't feel very good.
I've definitely seen much worse. I've definitely seen much worse of these 360 experiences. This one in terms of like the other ones, the thing about these kinds of short films or whatever, this is very much like something. I actually do like indie films and stuff. But to enjoy this, you really have to have like an open mind. You have to be like obsessed with indie films.
It's not even a good film though. It's not very well acted. It's not very well written.
Yeah, if you've seen a lot of indie films, they're usually.
I mean, if this was a movie, I would turn it off.
It's not it's nowhere near a movie, but
although you can buy the movie for like $3.
It does have you go through. There's 3 different chapters, and there's supposed to be like a different way. Like chapter one. Chapter 1 is where the family is just starting their grieving process. Chapter 2, there's some kind of weird supernatural thing starting to happen, and then chapter 3 is when stuff is supposed to actually happen. It doesn't really, but there's also branching paths. After you finish each chapter, it says this is the path that you took, and then these are the alternate paths that could occur as well. Yeah. I only played through one path of the entire thing, and there's only like slight differences. I think in chapter 3 there's like maybe 3 different paths.
I mean, the thing is, it's so hard to figure out how you triggered those things, because at the beginning, and I think you're probably going to say something similar, Brian, because we talked about this before. At the beginning, it says, "Oh, look at certain areas to trigger gameplay changes or like storyline changes.
See who you want to focus on. Focus on a person to follow their story."
There is no indicator of this is a place to look that will activate that. Right. And if you have activated, there is no indicator that it did get activated. So at the end of it, when it says you made all these choices, you're like, when did I make any of those choices?
Except it's kind of obvious when you're playing, when somebody leaves a room and you don't go with them, that was a choice.
How do you go with them? Stand in one spot.
No, you
just follow them with your eyes or something?
No, you stare at them before they leave the room, and that triggers you.
Well, yeah.
It is look based.
So what was I doing there? I don't know what that was.
The thing that turned me off immediately was that the game starts out, and I knew it was this thing about different choices and branching storylines. The first thing you see when the start of the game happens is just this text that says, like, choice is an illusion, and nothing matters. There are no real choices, and the only choice you have, it's so corny. It's like the only choice you can really make is to be present in life, which sounds some shit. It's some shit on the back of an Oprah book. Like it's not a good way to intro your game. But if you're telling me, first of all, choices don't matter, and then I play the game and I can't even tell when I made a choice or if it mattered, you're kind of killing the whole aspect of the game where it's like, oh, you got to make choices. Right. Like, I don't know. Funny. It didn't really fit together, right?
Philip Harris says in the chat, looks like the most depressing VR. Dude, I started this Gamescast live saying, if you're in a good mood and like feel like you're too happy at the moment, go play this, because it'll bring you down.
No, play Transference instead. Transference is actually a good game, and that game will make you fucking sad because it's so dark and weird.
Honestly, this made me more sad because it's just not as fun or entertaining.
Well, yeah, and if you want to feel like shit because you're playing a bad game, sure, play this game.
It's just, it's, the first chapter is really bad setting. They did not do a good job setting things up. It gets a little bit better, but that's really not saying much. I like the fact that there's a supernatural element to it, but it's like, I would totally, all it did was make me say an actual like paranormal activity thing, or something like that, something to really scare me. It was very light in terms of what's that other experience movie thing that's supposed to be.
There's a few. I mean, there's Crow, there's Alumet, there's
not one that exists, one that could. It was one that we saw during, and it looked like it was like some horror thing. It just looked like it had a little bit more on. But I don't know. This feels very much like an indie film to me. Just not even close to one of the best ones I've seen. I think it does have some sort of things, but
So there are, what we didn't even really touch on is that other than following characters and like staring at the characters whose story you want to follow, there are moments when you interact with the game, right? So you can either use a Move controller or the DualShock 4, and when that time comes, well, then you just kind of turn your controller and point at the thing you want to interact with, and basically you're the dead kid, and you get to like mess around.
Oh, spoilers! I didn't get that far. Actually, I'm never gonna play it.
It's in the first scene. It's in one of the very first.
Wait, I played the whole first chapter. I was never the dead kid. So maybe I picked the wrong option.
You did. So I've played chapter 1 twice. So if you follow the dad to the door where the police are talking to him, you could have stayed back and hung out with mom and made spooky shit happen.
Oh, I see.
Spooky. Yeah. So and that's the thing is like, and I think you guys were like, oh, it doesn't make much of a difference which path you take, but when they actually show between chapters all the branching paths, by the time you get to the chapter 2 and then chapter 3, the number of branching paths and the number of scenes that you miss, it's like crazy for this tiny little, each chapter is 10 minutes, 15 minutes?
Something like that,
minutes.
yeah.
So it's crazy the amount of stuff you miss in that short period of time. And so for me, I kept thinking, I do want, like, even though I'm not enjoying this, I want to go back and see what happened in the kids' room when we were downstairs. Like what happened, like what happened here, what happened there. And so I'm going to go through and I'm going to try to see as many of the paths as I possibly can, and then kind of push out a review for this thing. But man, it is the acting more than even the video quality, the acting in this game, and I think maybe the choice of actors. It is rough, man. Like, as someone,
I don't think it was the worst. I don't think it was worse. They're actor in video games for some reason, and he's always like, I don't know. The acting wasn't the worst. I think it was maybe, I think it was maybe just the writing or something. It definitely wasn't the worst that I've seen, but it also wasn't great.
I wouldn't be surprised if this was like somebody in film school who got a couple of their buddies to like fucking star in the thing. Because they're not actors like that you'd know from anywhere. They're just very amateur, like you said, super indie, but it's not.
But there are levels of that I can appreciate, right? Like when going back to the first Paranormal Activity movie, it was obviously a very zero budget kind of movie, but man, I appreciated that because of what it was doing, and the acting's, even though it was bad, it was still better than this. And so like I feel like this game, or this experience, whatever you want to call it, this 360 video, like it should have been marketed to me specifically, right? If you've ever lost somebody really close to you, like and you believe in the afterlife, you believe in paranormal shit, like all of this kind of they try to smush it all together into one short movie, and I kind of wanted to love this, and there was nothing really about it to love.
No.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of missed opportunities.
Beyond all that stuff too, I did have some actual technical issues with the game. Like there was this point at which I could. For the most part, it's pretty seamless when you pick a choice. You don't even know it's happened. But there was this one that I guess I chose, and the game hiccuped for a second, and then everything was delayed. So all the subtitles were coming up like 4 sentences before what people were saying. So I was like, nothing matched up, and it was just very disorienting as far as like, why isn't the audio and the subtitles and the video like where it's supposed to be?
Right.
So I think there are some rough edges actually in the implementation too.
So many rough edges.
I've played almost every single one of these experiences, 360 video experiences that you can get for PS4. The difference is this wasn't even the best one, or my favorite, I should say. Maybe it could possibly be the best one, but I don't really think so.
It's not the best one.
No, but I have played better ones that are free, and that's the alarming part. And they weren't really that great either, but it's just there are free ones as well and paid application. But I can see with that money that you pay for this, it's a little bit less rough around the edges than some of the other ones. It's a little bit more complete of a put together experience. So it's really, I don't want to say it's good, but it's not the worst thing I've seen in terms of like some of these experiences.
I just can't tell who's gonna enjoy it.
Yeah.
Who out there's gonna like it?
I feel like if I didn't like it, no one's going to.
I'm telling
you. Even for $6, I don't know, man.
Those people that are like obsessed with indie films.
No, dude, no.
There's probably not a lot of them.
I really like indie films, but that has nothing
to
do
with my appreciation of this game. I do too, and like I liked little tiny things about it. Very, very small things. For the most part, I did not enjoy it. The first chapter, you've only played the first chapter. The first chapter's trash. The other
I got through half of the second chapter too.
Okay.
When she starts freaking out seeing the kid or whatever, and he messes with everything.
Right. It still don't expect anything too great, but it got a little bit better in terms of like writing stuff. A little bit better.
It's just crazy to go from talking about Invisible Hours to talking about this fucking game. You know what I mean? Like, there's no comparison. As far as storytelling goes, this is
Invisible Hours is pretty almost top notch.
Yeah. No, this is I can't. Again, I feel like this game should have been marketed to me, and I didn't enjoy it at all. So, I mean, I don't know who's going to enjoy this if I didn't.
Yeah, I don't. That's the problem. It's just not really very enjoyable, and that's a problem.
So, speaking of problems, I'm pretty sure I'm the only one that can talk about this next game. I don't think either of you guys have played Tokyo Chronos yet.
Don't plan to.
No, wait. Do you have a code for that already?
So Tokyo Chronos, I'm playing on my Quest right now. And,
it's like $40 on Quest or something, though, right? It's kind of expensive.
I got a review key for the Quest.
Okay.
And
I was curious about that one.
Yeah. Actually, and to be completely fair, I think what really happened wasn't a review key. I had backed this game on Kickstarter, and along with my physical copy of the PlayStation VR version, I was promised a key, and I emailed them and swapped my PSVR key for a Quest key. So it was not a review copy, actually. So anyway, I figured it's going to be virtually identical on both systems, right? But I figured it's a 15-hour visual novel, and I figured I better get a jump start before it comes out. And so I'm like an hour in. I'm not very far at all. It comes out tomorrow, and I'll tell you guys right now, man. Like, this is at least a competent visual novel for PSVR, which we haven't seen yet.
There's like non-existent.
Right. So this is basically and that kind of goes both ways. It's a competent visual novel, but to be completely honest, I'd rather be playing this on my Vita, like curled up on my bed and like just playing it at night and like, blasting through it, because the VR integration isn't great. Like, there's very, very early on, you like I think in the first few seconds of the game, like, you lift up your hands and you see blood on your hands. And you're like, oh, okay, I might be a culprit in some murder that happened. And that's kind of cool. But then, and again, I'm playing this on the Quest, so maybe they've updated it for PSVR. We'll see what happens. And you see yourself in the mirror, but like, it's not doing the Batman thing, right? It's not doing the Batman thing where you're like, oh, that's me in the mirror. It's only doing, like, I think it's just moving your body as you turn your head, which isn't great. And then there's and then a few minutes further into the game, somebody like holds you up by the neck, and you're seeing that in VR. But again, none of it's implemented all of that great to make it VR necessary.
I like the art style. The art style looks cool.
And the art style is great, except, there's not a ton of animation. Sometimes the characters animate, and then sometimes they just kind of blink into a different position. And the whole thing isn't translated. or none of it's translated. It's all in Japanese. So you're reading subtitles for 15 hours.
Oh, they didn't translate any of it.
For a $40 game, you'd think maybe they should have fucking translated it.
Yeah, localization budget or something.
Right. So we'll see what happens when the PlayStation VR version releases tomorrow. But as of right now, the Quest version is not translated. And so to at least the font and the text and everything's super clear, right? They made it really easy to read. But I don't want to read for 15 hours in VR.
Yeah, nobody does really.
Right. That's why I'm really saying that there's not enough of a VR implementation here. Where like I would much rather be playing this on my Vita, where I'm just like.
Well, so what's the presentation like when you're looking at this? Because visual novels are usually a static scene.
Yep, that's what it is.
The characters change. It's just a static scene.
Static scene, except static 3D scene
with depth. With depth, but still static. You just stand and look at.
And
okay.
They're not great looking either, right? For being a bunch of static images, they're not great looking. Like there's low res textures in the background. You're like, why? Like,
oh my god!
They look okay. Don't get me wrong, but they're certainly not. It doesn't reek of a $40 VR game.
Yeah, I mean the price is a little bit ridiculous. Is it at least better than Project Lux?
Oh my god!
Yes, I knew you were going to say that. Yeah,
no,
I knew you were going to say that.
I think it's going to be a great visual novel. But I think it's just a great visual novel. It's not a great VR visual novel.
That you'd like to play flat screen in your bed.
And I say that almost never, right? I say it once in a blue moon. I don't think VR makes this better. In fact, having to read for 15 hours might make it worse. So they should have translated it. They didn't. They should have given us a non-VR version to go along with this. They didn't. I'm still going to play it, and I have a feeling I'm going to love it because it's very Japanese, which I love.
You haven't had a chance to go like full weeaboo in a minute. I feel like, this is your opportunity.
No, I'm good. Like, I mean, I'm the biggest fan of the Danganronpa series ever. Like Danganronpa 1 through 3. I know they're like more recent games or whatever, but like they're my favorite visual novels ever.
Are all those the same? Where like you're like arguing and they're like a mystery and you try to play detective and stuff? I played that Danganronpa 2 demo, I think. The VR demo, whatever.
Oh, that was
really cool, actually. That was fun little experience.
That was like just a small little segment of the normal visual novels where you take everything you learn and then you have to go to court and like it becomes like not an action scene, but you have to like really like counterpoints that like are false.
Lots of stuff was going on.
Yeah.
That was kind of interesting. It actually wasn't bad.
Yeah, so we'll see. I don't think this is again the greatest implementation of VR, but the fact is, I think it's going to be great. I think the story is setting up to be very cool, and I'm curious to know where it goes. And I can tell you right now, I'm going to love it because of just the vibe it gives me right away. But I feel like they must have had a very limited budget when they made this. I know it was kickstarted.
Yeah.
But man, I really wished there was more animation rather than the characters like blipping across the screen. I don't know. It's
Are
good.
there like any cutscenes or anything, or is it all just that?
Again, like there's cutscenes, like when this girl comes up and she gives you a hug, right? So it kind of goes to a different perspective, and she's kind of like in that hug position while you're talking to her for a second. Mm-hmm. And there's that guy holding you up by the throat, like early on. And so like it's these kind of cutscenes, but they're in first person. I haven't really seen, I guess, anything that would be considered meanwhile in another part of the city, right? But the whole thing takes place in Shibuya, but like in the lowest budget Shibuya ever, they're like, everyone disappeared. So like this doesn't suddenly like no population to render. It's like, I think humanity went extinct. Well, guess what? I think your budget went extinct, and that's why there's no one here. But that's just a guess. I have no real. I shouldn't be saying anything negative yet because I've spent only about an hour with the game, and I've got about 14 more hours to go before I can properly say anything about it. So we'll see. I'm excited. I'm gonna buy the PSVR version tomorrow, and see what the differences are, and then hopefully they've made some improvements. But I'm thinking that's probably not the case. It's probably a direct port.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Excellent. Well,
this is a 2.5 hour Gamescast, guys. I think we need to wrap this sucker up.
Probably about about that time.
Yeah. Top 20 coming soon. No Man's Sky VR coming soon. Way before an Afterlife. I highly recommend.
We'll get to it.
I've got more. I've got another list on the way. A couple more guides coming soon as well. Meeting up with Rody tomorrow.
Nice.
Lots going on, man.
So you're saying we won't see anything from you for a while because you'll be partying with Rhodey.
Damn right.
Yeah.
Right on.
Can't wait.
All right, you guys. That's pretty much it for another episode of PSVR Gamescast Live. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us for the entire, 2.5 hours. Make sure you support us on Patreon, patreon.com/withoutparolegames. For just $1 or a month, you can show us how much you love us when you know we already love you. Also, submit your viewer takeover questions on our Discord server, which you should already be part of. But if you're not part of the Discord server, make sure you join our community over there on PS4. Thriving GameCat community over there. They are like stubborn, but we love them. That's kind of it. Thank you, AJ. Thank you, Dave. Make sure everybody, all the cats, head on over to their channels and subscribe. Show them some love. And we'll see you all. Ooh, maybe for viewer takeover next week.
Hey, in real time, live.
Totally forgot. All right.
Nice.
Peace.
Love you, everybody. Thank you. Billy Goat Catfish, the self-editing game cat, points out that Borderlands VR deal. There was I guess PAX West is either going on or about to go on, and Gearbox has said that they're going to be present and doing a showcase with more VR updates. So we're going to be getting news on that. And also, who said that? Your Long Shadow says, watch Dread, Brian. Now I feel like I need to watch this movie.
It's a fun movie. Actually, regardless of the 3D, it's a pretty fun movie. Like, I enjoyed it.
Check this out. But thank you so much, Billy. Thank you, Joystick. Thank you, Matt H. Genetic Blasphemy, Rogue, TR, good to see you. Redundant Lime, love the name. The Dawn, Nerfy, Hack the Game Cat, Kev Gret, Nick New Low. I will have fun. Thank you, man. I'm glad Kev Gret got to meet up with Brody too. Seraphim190, my dude. Thank you so much, man. Davestation, that guy sucks. You can go away.
Wow, that was rude.
That was rude.
That was fucking rude.
I'm
hey,
just kidding.
Stop interrupting AJ, Dave.
I'm gone. I'm out.
Yeah,
stop
this is the last time you guys are going to see me. I'll take this. I'm out, dude.
RC Woodward, I'm just giving you help. Guys,
Decepticon and Ezra the Game Cat, Geisen and Bloody Body Game Cat,
Chaos,
Philip Harris,
Cyberdude,
Geisen the man,
Will,
Bump, yeah.
Bob Zarkoff, the Underground Davestation Game Cat, aka greatest name ever on YouTube. Thank you guys so much, man.